so proud to stand here and to talk to you as the first chairman of the Berkeley Middle East Investors Club. The history of this club is actually going back to the Berkeley Middle East Investment Forum, which since decades already was a vehicle to organize and implement some different investments all over the planet. It was an enormous success, and we have been approached by many different countries and individuals. So we decided to transform this forum into a more dynamic, more global and mainly a lot bigger vehicle in order to have all those people on one platform. So the vision of the club is clear. We want to bring all those elements, all those factors together which are important to have a successful investment business. That's, of course, on one hand, the investors, the one who has the money, who has is even happy to invest money somewhere. And on the other side, an investee, someone who needs the money and can show attractive projects to invest in. And in between these two ends are a lot of specialists needed to make it a successful project. We need those professionals who are here to implement. We have the advisors who know exactly what is needed in different countries in order to have a successful implementation. We have organized a lot of expert committees who can, in different directions of the industry, be it in agriculture, be it in mining, be it in infrastructure, be it in even hospitality or healthcare, who come along with a huge and long expertise in this environment, who can advise what to do that is going to be a successful endeavor. An important part of a club, of course, is as well the member. Therefore, we have different levels of memberships. We have the billionaire, millionaire memberships, which is actually reserved for those high-level individuals who are actually typically those who come to have a look where to invest, who are interested in lucrative and alternative investments. We have as well the professional memberships, professional and SME memberships. These are more those members who are actually here then to find some assignments, to help to implement, who have already experience in these regions where the investment should be done, and who can help on the spot to implement these projects. And then, last but not least, very important, we have as well the diplomat members, because we would like to have all those government bodies on board as well. These are the people who can grant environment in their nations, in their homes, where this investment can be implemented fruitfully. So we are here to make the world a better place. We are here to help wherever needed to do the necessary investments to have the local people living on a better level, living a better life. And we do that with our very strongly defined values like integrity, professionalism, credibility, accountability, and ethical behavior. I hope to see you somewhere in our club, even probably maybe sometime as a member. Thank you.
Good afternoon. What a lovely introduction, Weldon team. I'm so excited to see all these speakers on board. I welcome you on this show live with Musa Sheikh, live from London, and we have all the global women across the globe. I mean, we have women today from Australia, from United States, from Canada, from Europe, and of course, UAE and Saudi Arabia. So it is going to be an amazing evening, and I will start my formal discussion now. So I want to thank few people before I start the program. Berkeley Investor Club, always supportive for the women. I want to thank Khulud Muhammad Shaban and Stephen for his for their team efforts to bring this event on live with the audience. I especially acknowledge your special focus on women and of course Berkeley Me and MS Women Foundation, which is a voice of women in terms of business, in terms of their own future. I would like to highlight here that the foundation is doing an amazing job. There are a few objectives, of course, that need to be highlighted here is the women empowerment, women development, issues related to women, of course, related to their mental health, their domestic life, whether it's in the shape of a domestic violence or it's in the shape of a divorce it's in the shape of a justice at their doorsteps. These are really, really important events that issues that everyone should think about it. So what the foundation is focusing on, we want to bring a macro change in the world. We're talking mainly focusing on the global world because we believe that the developed world has already achieved women empowerment and sizable size of health and education. But the developing countries are still far away from recognizing that woman is an asset. It can transform uh, your your nation, because if you build a woman, it can build a nation. If you see, and a woman is a daughter, and she is a wife, she is a mother, and these are the very important roles that are on the shoulder of women. And over the years, centuries and centuries, women is doing these jobs very nicely. So in developing countries, we saw that women is not in leadership, they are not in businesses. So we find out, we research what are the reasons. So the first reason that we found is that they don't have proper legislation. The law making is not so strong, and parliament has not much number of women for decision making. So it's actually ironic that the man is giving rights to a woman, instead woman is giving rights to her own self. And the very unfortunate part of this is the developing country women has learn to live with this kind of inefficiencies around them. They have accepted it as it is, and they lost the sense and the voice. So where we come into, we try to negotiate with the governments, with the legislature, that bring women in the parliament so they can they know their issues better than a man, and they can take effective lawmaking, and they can take effective procedures and policies, and they can make sure that these policies has been translated and implemented in a proper shape. Of course, women need education and health, and it's not the case that a woman is striving always for getting a right to educate. You might heard about the Nobel Prize winner Malala. She was from a developing country, Pakistan, and she was shot in her head just as a punishment uh, for striving education in women. That's why she was given a Nobel Award, because such kind of brave women is actually the voice of the global community. And of course, such kind of women, every woman has voice, and this voice has a platform, which platform is for everyone, and every woman who has some ideas, suggestions, and some kind of passion to work for the global women in developing country, they are most welcome to join our passion and cause. So free education, free health is the women generic right. Some countries, I don't want to name them, but it's very embarrassing, very sad, and very cruel that once they come to know that there is a baby girl in the tummy, they abort it. They don't want to have a female child, because the reason is that their culture, their society, and their incompetent governments put a lot of stress on a parent, that they have to arrange their education, health, and they have to marry them, and they don't have these resources. So they try to take this initiative to kill a baby girl, which is a murder, and it is going on year and year, and it is really a serious concern as well. So we want that all developing countries start thinking in a way that how to optimize the resources to at least give a woman a free education and a free health. And these are the basic physiological needs. I mean, if an education can make a woman self reliant and financially independent, mentally independent, and this is we see in the United States, United Kingdom. I mean, state is always here to help them in terms of business loans, in terms of incubation, in terms of free health and education. So unfortunately, in developing countries, this has not been achieved, and it is an effort. It's a voice that we want to raise in order to get things aligned. A lot of time, women don't get justice, free and speedy justice. I mean, you will be surprised that in some countries, I personally know women that when they decided to divorce, it took them 2 to 3 years with investing a lot of money, going to court, facing embarrassments, male dominant technical issues. Push them away from taking a divorce, and this is an insult to a woman, that a woman is going to court depending on men to seek justice. She pity, people look at the pity eyes. This is a humiliation of a woman, which is absolutely not acceptable anymore in this 2021. And of course, in developing countries, we don't have old age homes. Old people have no pensions, they have no government fundings, they have no access to health. So old women is really important. We need to build up some facilities for them so they can have better and better life, because they, when they were young, they had a better life, and they deserve to be a better life till their last breath. Very important in terms of businesswomen is we want to push developing countries in order to make incubation centers and entrepreneur centers. Nowadays, like if you are in a developing country, you have a business idea, you have a business plan, you have some thoughts that you want to translate into a business. There is not even a single appropriate, effective incubation center and empowerment center where you can go, where you can start your business, where someone can give you a free business plan, and where they can guide you, give you some support, so you get financially independent and translate yourself into an entrepreneur. um, Converting a woman into an entrepreneur is really important. If you see American economy, 40% of the American economy is consist of SMEs, small medium enterprises. So, and they play an active role. If you start a business, you need a secretary, you need an accountant. So at least 3 to 5 people will get employed, and the wheel of economy goes better and better. So we are always striving for, and that's why we make a women entrepreneur house in Berkeley Me, where you can go and free of cost. You can have a business plan. You can sit with our highly professional, globally trained chartered accountants, financial analysts, lawyers. They can help you to build a good business. They can give you some research, some ideas, of course, website, all kind of tools that is required for the businesses are available at your doorstep. It's just about an awareness. You approach us and you will get that. So I will move forward towards our projects that we are aiming to. These projects are really, really interesting, and these projects has never been in the world in this shape before. So it's a bit unique projects, but of course, with all your advice and support, we are going to implement them as very soon. So the first project that is, of course, we are aiming for developing country is we want to make women's schools and women colleges and universities. They will be free of cost and they will be on world standard. We saw, I mean, there are a lot of projects people are doing in terms of education of orphanage and female. But if you see the standard of these schools is tremendously low, and the outcome of these schools as a successful grown-up kids is absolutely zero. So we need to build up those schools. Like in the UK, for example, if a rich man and a poor man goes to the same hospital, the doctor don't know you are poor, you're rich, you're famous, you're not famous. That kind of atmosphere we have to bring, where rich and poor sit together and they have the same common education, which is global standard, and you get the best opportunities after that. So this is one of our project, and technology is advancing. We are moving forward to women tech parks, technology parks, which are only for women. So you can see that women has creative abilities. They are more artistically better, and they are innovative and they have newness. And all the world now transferring in a box in a computer. So these are the that's why we need technology parks where we can bring women on board. They can be innovators. They can be technically enhanced. They can make films. They can make their promos. They know how to optimize the Google and the other artificial intelligence blockchain. If we give them the women, I'm sure that a woman can do wonders. So that technology part is, of course, we are working on a pilot project, and soon we will share the good news to work in. Agriculture is the base of the country, and some agriculture based areas. Most of the developing countries has land, and it is unutilized land, and women is already since centuries, you can see they are picking the flowers and cotton and other things. So we propose to make the women agriculture city. That is really, really important. And of course, it will give opportunities to the farming women, and with the best seed, with the best technology. And we have to bring investor in this field who is really going to help the investors, the women, in terms of bringing a better product, maybe, which is contributing to the society in a better way, and of course, the better future for them and their kids. That's the very, very important things. Women in sports is really required. All developing countries are I'm sure they are developed because they don't give. They are developing because of the reason that they don't invest in their women. So we should invest in women's sports. So this is one of our project to start investing in creating an awareness about bringing women in the sports, because a healthy woman, active woman, and self. This is also an opportunity leads to an employment and financial independence. Women incubation centers we want to aggressively work on. Every city should have an incubation center where women can go. Even nowadays, I believe that women don't need to go out anywhere in a way that she's going and finding ways, finding her life. This is our duty as men, that we should give them at the doorstep. We tell them, look, sitting at home, online education has grown. In COVID-19, we learned that we don't need physical spaces. We need online technology for education, healthcare, telehealth is going on. Doctors are consulting you on phone, and education is online. Projects can be online, and justice can be online. No need to exploit a woman to come out of the home and going anywhere else. This is really important. And of course, women are required in film industry, because I believe that YouTubes and such kind of channels and Facebooks, if you have a better voice, you have better video, it can get viral in seconds. So we need to bring women in film industry, so they can raise social issues, domestic violence, and the injustice happening with them. And that will be an amazing, that if we make a woman capable to speak, capable to read, capable to eat, capable to get health and education and opportunities. So believe me, the world would be a total different, peaceful world, because women can lead a better role in terms of a peaceful world. They build up nations. They are the peace ambassadors. So with this, of course, during the show, we have a lot of very eminent and global women. They have their global thoughts about them. The program is designed in a way that we want to give them an opportunity to speak up what they are best at. And so the speaker and the audience can get a lot of light. And of course, they are always available for our support if you want to approach them after the program. Their LinkedIn's and and through us, of course, they are always available. So with this, we will start our discussion with the first speaker of the day. Oh, that's great. So, hi, Melanie, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. And thank you very much for taking out your time. And how is the weather in Europe now?
It's raining. It's very sad. We had a lot of snow, which was awesome. And now everything's gone since this morning. So I'm a bit sad, but all the better. So I can be here and enjoy the conference the entire day.
That's great. So now the mic is with you. You can introduce yourself, and you can talk with us on the topic that you feel is more closer to your heart.
Awesome. Then I'm going to get started. Hi everyone. I'm going to jump right into it. What is the one thing smart women like all of you who are here have in common? You have to work harder, you have to be smarter, and let's face it, you basically have to be more in everything to have your voice be heard. Is that fair? No. Can you do something about it? Yes. So my name is Melanie Goel. I sit here in my living room in Germany, and I help individuals and businesses to get their voices be heard. Over the last 7 years, I've been working in branding at companies like Tesla and startups, like bigger and smaller, and of course in my own branding business as well. And what I've developed over those 7 years is a branding strategy. I call it a bottom-up branding strategy that basically helps you to put yourself on the map, like to make your voice be heard. And that strategy really highlights what makes you unique and what sets you apart. It helps you to highlight exactly what you bring to the table and how that is different from all the other people. This is how you make your voice be heard, right? Because you show what unique composition of values and personality and experience and skills you bring to the table, and that is always unique because everyone's unique composition is different, and we should be proud of that. So, and the strategy, I'm going to talk about it a little bit because I want you to walk away from this conversation or from this talk with actionable advice and a first toolkit that will help you make your voice be heard. And if you want to have more, there's more. I've written all the things you need to know about personal branding and making your voice be heard and down in a book. It's called Unique: 6 Simple Steps to Creating a Highly Effective Personal Brand. And you can find it on Amazon. Just search for Melanie Goel and Unique, and you're going to find it right there. But we only have 15 minutes, and so let's make that time count. I'm going to jump right into it. So I think we all know in order to have our voices be heard, personal branding is important, and in a highly skilled audience like this one, I don't have to explain why. But I think what we can do is talk about how we can make it better. Because let's face it, there are these people out there who just somehow seem to get everything, and you might work harder and more and longer, and you're not getting there exactly. And the unique thing about these people is that they figured out how to highlight their skills and their unique composition in a way that people see that people listen to it, and that that they basically catch attention. And by catching attention, that's a door opener. So you basically, what you need to achieve is that you get this door opener, that someone gives you its attention and listens to you. And the crucial thing about personal branding is that you make this short attention span work for you. You have to make that count. And how do you make that short attention span count? You have to explain the most important, or summarize the most important things about you in a very concise and short message. I'm going to go into this a little bit later, but the big question, and I know that because personal branding or branding itself is so vague, and you can talk about, oh, you need to have this short message, but the big and the most difficult part of this is like, how do you get to this message, right? So how do you get there? This is the crucial part and the difficult part. It's hard work, and but I'm going to give you the most important tools in this talk today that you can get started on it. Believe me. So then let's go into it. So why did I call this a bottom-up strategy? Bottom up and is basically that we first look, or I also sometimes call it inside out. It's basically you first look who you are instead of looking outside. So Simon Sinek, he has this really amazing quote, and it's called, "To stand out, you need to know what you stand for." This really sums up what the inside out or bottom up branding strategy means. And the reason is, and trust me, I've done this like a million times before I understood how to do personal branding the right way. So what we usually do is we go out and we see people who are super successful, and we think, oh, awesome, let me replicate this. Let me replicate how this person, because it worked for that person, it should be working for me too. And then we just research how that person got so successful. We read books and we read articles, and then we try to replicate it, and it doesn't work. Why does it not work? Because that particular strategy worked for their particular personal setting. So personal branding is called personal branding because it's personal. So everyone's or each individual or our individual success depends on our individual setting, like our values, our personality, our skills, our experience. So that combination is that unique setting. And you can use a similar you can use the same strategy, like what I'm doing now, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if that person was communicating that way or using that particular social media tool or that kind of design, that it's going to work for you as well, because in the end it has to be authentic, and if it's not, then it's just not successful, right? So that way your voice is not be heard. Instead, your voice is kind of it's lacking authenticity. So how do we get there? How do we get to that strategy, and how can you make sure that you have an authentic and consistent personal setting, and how do we even understand what your personal setting is? So this is what we're going to do now for the next few minutes. Let's start with one thing. The bottom-up strategy bottom-up personal branding strategy for making your voice be heard starts with goal setting. So in order to understand, or you need a strong foundation in order to have an authentic personal brand, an authentic voice and image. And that base layer, I would call it, is your goal. So if you want to have a personal brand, you need to understand what you want to have it for. So what's the purpose of it? What do you want to achieve, and what are your expectations of your personal brand? What do you expect to happen? So if your goal might be a promotion or getting money from an investor or something like that, it's important that you have to visualize first what that goal is. So where exactly should your personal brand help you achieve something, and what should it help you achieve? So this is the first question you have to ask. The next one is the reality check. So you check, okay, where do you stand today? What have you tried already in terms of that goal? Is there a gap between where you are right now, for example, in terms of skills or experience or anything, and the goal that you want to achieve? And what do you need to do to bridge that? So this is your reality check that you, at the beginning of your personal branding journey, you really have an honest and objective view of where you're standing. In the next step, you're thinking about your options. So you think like, okay, how can I do things? If I've tried something before, if I've tried to approach investors, for example, or try on social media or whatever, how can I do things differently than I've done them before? Who could help me? For example, a consultant or something, or a coach. And then list everything that you can imagine, maybe try to aim 10 things that your options, what can you do? And lastly, you have to think about your bill, like how invested are you in that goal, and how invested are you in using a personal brand, developing a personal brand in order to achieve that? Which of the options do you want to pursue, and which one do you think has the highest likelihood of succeeding? So this is the first part. This is the goal setting part. Try to not skip this, because it's quite important because you can always come back. You need to have a framework within your, which you need to know that you're going in the right direction. So if you say, I want to I want to get an investor for my business, or I want to have a promotion, then make sure that you align all these things, that you know what's missing and what the reason might be that it hasn't worked so far. And the next step in the strategy is your value setting. So this is really important. I think this is one of the most important parts. So, and this is also so important in your entire voice development, because let's face it, skills are the bottom line. So if you are talking to an investor or if you are talking to a company, having the skills to run the business, build the business, scale the business, or join that company, that's a given. I mean, not people don't necessarily say it, but it's a given. They choose the personality that they think is going to actually make it happen. A personality where they think, okay, this person is worth investing in. This person brings everything apart from the skills, because all the people that they will talk to in the last round are going to have the skills. But whatever you bring from your personality side, this is going to be the decisive factor in the end. So what you can do here, because the value exercise is very difficult, I think I've done it like 7 times. There is a bias of first choosing values that sound really amazing. So do that exercise over and over again to actually come to the one that are the most authentic to you. You can go on my website, melaniegoel.com. There is an area, worksheet area, and you can download the one for values. But you can also, if you don't want to do that, you can also do another one. So think about leaving a room. In that room, there are a lot of people who are important to you, and business-wise, personal-wise. And if you leave the room, think about what are the 3 words that they are saying after Melanie is. So what do I want people to say about me in 3 words when I leave the room? How do I want people to perceive who I am? So this is on really the personality value level. And then ask yourself as the next question, what is the one thing you want to be known for? This might be more on I would say performance level maybe, or something else. It could also be a value, but for example, you might want to be known for someone who adapts really quickly to new topics or things like that. So this is really one of the things that you should think about. So you have in the values, think about the 3 words you want to be described as, and then think as one bigger aspect you want to be known for. And so this is really important, because, and then if you went through this exercise, think about, are these values that you decided, are these values that kind of influence your decision making? So our core values, which really represent how we are conducting ourselves in public, how people experience who we are, these values usually also affect all the decisions that we're making. So for example, for me, one of the important things is being creative. Being creative is really something that influences all my decisions. It decides if I want to take a job or if I don't want to take a job. Can I be creative there? Can I not be creative there? And things like that. So this is something you should keep in mind. So why do we spend so much time on the value part? The reason is what I just mentioned. So if we're building an image, if we're creating a voice, it has to be a voice that really represents how people experience you. So this is really important. And what I want to say here, I think this is where personal branding got sidetracked in the last years. I think personal branding now has this image of creating fake personalities. We see that on Instagram, for example, where we have a lot of happy, smiling people. But if you're creating a fake image, that is prone for mistakes, I would say, because let's say you have a bad day and then you forget about something that you've decided for your image, then it's being inconsistent and people start thinking like, okay, she's just lying all the time. Like, who is that person really? So in a business sense, make sure that the values are really something that you can hold up every day, something that's really so unique, like so real and authentic to you that you don't really even think about it that much, because now we're getting to building an image. So that image that you're creating, you're thinking about how does a person with those values, what kind of attitude does it have? What kind of, what kind of communication style does it have? How does a person react? So for me, it's always more of a laid back, of a colloquial way of communicating with people. This is very real and authentic to me. So I also keep that up all the time, because if you want to get your voice be heard, you have to repeat, like people have to have the same experience over and over again, right? So people need to experience you the same way. And at some point, they don't even have to read your name. They say, oh yeah, this message is from Melanie, because they know exactly how I sound. So this is the goal of having your voice be heard, that you are so consistent. And in order to be so consistent, you have to figure out exactly the authentic values, but also creating the whole framework of how you're communicating, how your attitude is, and how you're communicating. So for that, I have another exercise, and I think I don't have a lot of time left. I don't want to take up time from the other people because everyone has so many amazing things to say today. So I have one last exercise that I want to share, and that is a brand message stacking. This is a bit similar to an elevator pitch, but it's a bit more intense, I would say. So in the brand message stacking, think about you're entering an elevator with a person who is crucial to your goal. And then think about, okay, that elevator, you don't know how long that person's going to be in the elevator. From one floor to the other, you have exactly 15 seconds. There's a reason, because Snapchat is 15 seconds, Insta stories are 15 seconds. This is our normal attention span today. So we want to use that. And now you don't know when the person's getting off. So what you have to do is, within the first 15 seconds, you have to say everything that's important about who you are. You have to make it catchy so that the person wants to look you up. And you have to say something that the person knows where to look you up. So these are the important things. And then if the person doesn't get off on the first floor, you now stack the next most important message on top, and then the next most important. Maximum 1 minute, so 60 seconds for 4 floors, let's say, because you want to leave enough time for the other person to talk and ask questions, or you to ask questions and show interest. So this is in a nutshell. There's a lot more to say and a lot more to share. Feel free to text me afterwards. You can find me on Twitter at Goel_Melanie. You can write me an email at mg@melaniegoel.com. You can find my book on Amazon, or just check out my website, which is melaniegoel.com. And there is so much more, and I'm happy to help if there are more questions.
That's so nice of you. I think with your knowledge, a lot of women has got a lot of value. I just have a quick question out of your discussion. We're running out of time, but it's out of my curiosity.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of profiles on LinkedIn, which is, international speaker, award-winning, this and that. And when I see them myself, I feel that there is a gap between the way they are branding and the way they are, So do you think that there is a bit of over-branding in the market and it's really not healthy for their reputation, or what are your comments about it?
Absolutely, you totally nailed it. That's the entire reason why I also mentioned in the beginning that there are some people who are really successful because they do the right branding, and then there are people who are just copying and thinking they can achieve the same thing. But you can really feel when someone does branding right. Like, let's take Simon Sinek, for example. He doesn't have to do a lot, and you just believe him. You believe that he knows all these things, and that's the way that he conducts himself, and he's always consistent. You always experience the same thing. And that gap that you mentioned, that's exactly how you can spot people who are trying to copy someone else and think that they can replicate the success recipe.
Very nice observations. And I think that we should sometime plan a full broadcast with you, maybe 50 minutes, and we should enlighten the women. I'm always concerned that there are people, of course, they can pay and get the service, but there are a lot of women who left their jobs and there is no other job available, and they transform themselves into a businesswoman. And I think it's a professional contribution for them that we can enlighten them at least some techniques for CSR, like our corporate social responsibility, our contribution to the community. And I'm sure that we are on the same page.
I would love that. They deserve it the most.
That's great. With this, I want to thank you for joining us, and I'm looking forward to have you in my other shows.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
With this, now let's move to the next speaker of the day. Oh, Metha, how are you doing today?
Good. How about you?
That's great. Excited to see you. And how's the weather in Dubai now?
Yes, I'm actually not in Dubai. I'm not living in Dubai. I'm living in Ras Al Khaimah. It's a little bit far.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think Ras Al Khaimah has the better weather than Dubai. This is we know.
It is. Yes, it is. To be honest, it is more coolest than other areas.
You have beautiful mountains, and these mountains.
Yeah, you need to visit Ras Al Khaimah. It's fabulous in the winter.
That's amazing. So just for the audience, I want to introduce that Metha is a UAE national, and she is a very upcoming, promising women in business. So Metha, it's now mic is on you, your thoughts and your audience.
Thank you, Musa. Thank you, guys. Good evening, guys, as it is now 7 p.m. in UAE. So my name is Metha, as Musa introduced me. I'm 24 years old. I'm a CTO at Emirates NBD. I'm working in the bank since 1 year now. Actually, I have a bachelor degree in electronics engineer, so you can call me Engineer Metha. I found my passion to be a public speaker and master of ceremony since 2 years. When I've joined the college, I was able to be on a stage, to speak to people. You can call me a socialized person. So then I found my passion that, yes, I have the ability and the opportunity to do this. So yeah, and now I'm here, and I'm so I appreciate that I'm a speaker at this big conference, as it's my first time, and I hope it will not be the first time. So I will jump into the topic directly, as I have only 15 minutes to speak. I'm so sad about this, but let's jump into the topic. So I will start my topic with first a question, or we can call it with one question. How do Emiratis women start their journey in leadership? So we know that leadership is a big topic to talk about. So I just specify to talk about it regarding to Emiratis women. So UAE is encouraged and empowered Emiratis women since 5 years, as they established a council. The name of the council was Gender Balance Council. So the aim behind this council was just to balance and equalize between the two genders. Okay, and this council, we can say it's in strength the women, especially the Emiratis women, because we know that for us as a UAEs, as a traditional thing, men's who is the only one take the control through all the fields and through all the things. But because of this council, women, they get the strength to give their decision making and their opinions in many kinds of fields. So we can call it a big step for Emiratis women. However, as a human nature, we're looking forward for other steps. Like we want to jump for a big and high step. So we jumped into a second step, that we get the opportunity to put our footprint into other fields. For example, politic, economic, and etc. Like other fields. So this was a big, huge opportunity for us. We show other countries and other people how, for us as Emiratis women, we get the support to put our footprints in other fields. So also we can call that for us as a human nature, again and again, we would like to discover more and more and more, and to get the opportunity, not just in our country. Like we would like to spread the opportunity inside, as I said, and outside the country. So I will give an example for a woman. His name is Amal Gbaisi. Okay, she is a wonderful woman. In 2015, she's the only one who get the first place in Parliament, and I forgot the name of the country, but she got the first place who represent an Arab world. So for us as UAEs, it's an honor, and we are so pleased that we have her to present the UAE in the first place. So then we found out that we can find the opportunity not only inside our country, we can jump outside the country to discover more, to show the people that we are able to represent our country. To finalize this, the definition, or that we can say to define the concept of leadership, is that we need to find the example of this person. Okay, so as a leader, we need to find it and follow it. For example, if I found a woman who decided to make something, for me, if this thing that she is able to do was like I've dreamed of, okay, and I've seen her that she is doing it. It's human nature, okay. So I would say that, oh, it's something I can do it. It's something she gave me the chance that I am able to do it. There's nothing can stop us. There's nothing, we call it impossible. We are able to do it. We have the ability to do it. As she is able to do it, then I will be able. We can call this person a leader. If I follow her, then it's mean someone will follow me, and so on. So it will be a pattern. So for us as a woman, nothing can stop us. Not for us only as an Emiratis woman, we can name it as a global woman. Nothing can stop us to achieve whatever we want. So I just want to finalize this thing, as I know that I don't have time to complete. So as you know, leadership is a really deep concept. But as to finalize this, I would like just to say that as a woman, we need a support, as an example for a leader to follow. We can say there is a difference between leader and the boss, but I can't go deep on this because it's really a huge topic to talk about. But you can feel free to text me, to email me. You have my LinkedIn link. If you need anything about leadership, not a specified thing, not just about us as an Emirati, you can text me about this, and I will be so happy to answer your questions. And yeah, so if there is plenty of time to answer your question, I will be happy for this.
Oh, that's great. I think this is a very motivational speech. And just for your knowledge, I want to say that I have trained more than 700 Emirati women in business. They are working in all the big entities like ADNOC, banking, and Mubadala, and Department of Justice, accountability. And my own experience about Emirati women is they are really, really talented, eager to grow. And we did a program also, Women in UAE. If you see on our website, I invited some of very high-end local women in the Emirates. And I feel that you girls are really blessed. Your leaders are really focused on bringing women in the government, in the parliaments, and already they brought it almost 50-50 is the ratio going for the parliament. You have the youth female minister, and I think that such a kind of luck that you born in Emirates is.
Sorry for disturbing you, Musa. There is like we are working now in UAE like to discover the Mars. So we like for us an Emirati women, 40% of Emirati women who put their hands on this like a machine that will be built to put it in the Mars. So 40% of the women are working on this. So really, it's a huge number of women, Emirati women, who put their hands to just show people that we have the ability to do it.
That's it.
Show them as a leader, because I would like to follow them. I would like to follow their pattern, their strategy, their progress, their motivation, their innovation of thinking. So it's really something we like. I would like to follow them, to learn from them.
That's amazing. I think there is a lot of learning that developing country leaders should take from Mohammed bin Zayed, because the way he built up the country and taking forward the women is very exemplary. And with these thoughts, I want to thank you for joining us for today, and I'm looking forward to have you in the future in other shows.
For the next conferences, and thank you for inviting me, Musa. Thank you all.
Thank you very much for the day. And with this, we are going to move forward to a very interesting panel. And I will introduce you with these prominent women who is going to join this panel.
Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Tamer Mitwalli, and I am the Dean of Berkeley Mee School of Management and Science. Today, I would like to explain some exciting courses for you. First of all, there's a certified CFO that we actually offer. And if you're in the financial sector, this is a great course, especially if you want to excel, or if you're into the management, or even if you're in a CFO yourself at the moment. We provide practical case studies, and these are great for you to enhance your skills. In addition to that, it's great recognition to become also a certified CFO, which you become a specialty. So that's one thing that it's really important for that course. In addition to that, we also provide a certified CEO course. So again, if you're in a management, or if you're a general manager, or if you're in a CEO currently, again, we actually provide case studies relating to this particular management, and for you to enhance your skills, especially with problem solving, strategies, etc. In addition to that, we also provide a number of other exciting courses, such as your logistics, or your chain supply management, your human resources, project management, marketing. We also have law, and we have a lot of other accounting courses as well. In addition to that, we also are very excited that we give you the opportunity, to not just becoming a certified CFO or CEO or certified human resource manager, but we also offer you the chance to conduct your masters with us, so we can offer that to you. It's only 12 months online to complete your masters, and once you've done that, we can also offer you to complete your doctorates as well. So we offer DPA, we also offer PhD, and we also offer international doctorates and many other types of doctorates we also offer. So if you are really interested in any of these great courses that will give you great recognition for you, and beside the recognition, it will give you that investment to enhance your skills, something that you can take back to work and to implement and to be better professional at your workplace. So if you are actually quite interested in any of these courses, please visit our website, which is berkeleyme.org, and there's all the courses structured, laid out very well. You can have all your details. If you can just type your details on the inquiry page, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you very much for joining, ladies. And it is it's a great honor for us to have you on board. Before we start the discussion, I want to introduce the patron of our panel as well. So we have three ladies, and the common thing between them is they are expert of personal development, and they can do a lot of things in your personality to improve you as a corporate person. And what we have a pattern is you have to introduce yourself one by one, and then we will take up the discussion onwards.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Musa.
Yeah, so Nada, can you introduce yourself more in detail for the audience?
Yes, thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to be with you today and sharing all my journey for having being here with you and following my passion through excellence and NLP. I'm NLP coach and certified NLP coach and master practitioner, business excellence expert as a profession with 13 years of experience in the corporate from quality and excellence. And I'm gonna share with you today about how can we empower women to pursue their dreams and have this eagerness for education and be very eager to learn more and have this power.
That's amazing. So if we just introduce all the panel, and then I will come back to you for the detailed discussion.
Okay.
So let's move towards Fatima. Fatima, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, thank you, Musa. This is Fatima Mohammed from Algeria. I'm very grateful to be here today to share and to learn. Thank you so much for our Berkeley Middle East host, the amazing ladies who've shared their journeys with us today, and for everyone amongst the audience. I always like to introduce myself as the dreamer action taker, because these two have definitely shaped my career. But if going into details, I'm the CEO of Better Ever After, certified happiness life coach and NLP master practitioner, Amazon best-selling author of Tear the Veil, and an author of 2 more books and an audiobook, international speaker on different stages, including TEDx, Wikistage, and Holt Prize, and someone who just loves to share the journey of love, of happiness, and prosperity in so many levels with women and with everyone on this world. Thank you again for having me, and I look forward to share more with you.
That's an amazing introduction, and I'm really personally excited to have your thoughts, being you are an Amazon best-selling writer and you are a TEDx speaker also. So let's move to Sharifa. Sharifa, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you're tuning in from. I'm Sharifa Sagaf. I'm a certified L&D expert and NLP coach and practitioner with over 11 years of HR experience. I've worked with some of the biggest names in retail, properties, hospitality, malls, having supported the L&D needs of about more than 5,000 employees. I'm a firm believer and I'm very passionate about people development. And really enabling people to realize their true potential. And that's something that I want to touch on today.
That's an amazing introduction, and I'm really looking forward to listen to your thoughts. Now let's move back to Nada. Nada, your topic seems very interesting, so Mike is with you. Please go ahead.
May I please share the screen? I wanted to share the screen.
Yeah, please go ahead. There's maybe a button down for you is sharing, and there you can share your file.
Okay. Let me know, please, if you can see it.
So far, we cannot see anything.
No.
At least me, I can't see anything.
Yeah, me neither.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, 1 minute.
Maybe you can try again sharing. I guess you need to open the file first, and then you have to click
I'm
the
opening
share
it
button.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, opening it now.
It's a bit of troubleshooting in terms of IT. I can do it for you.
Yeah, not yet.
I guess for me, I can't see. Yeah.
No worries. I'll
see it
speak.
either.
It's okay. This is another screen is in front of me, so that we save some time. Actually, I'm an expert in several areas, including emotional intelligence, personal branding. I have my program called the Renew You, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, how we can improve ourselves, and anxiety management, communication skills, and women empowerment. So I have a diverse range of programs that I offer to women for the empowerment. My journey started actually in 2018, when I have started to empower women to do a lot of workshops for them and explore more about NLP. You know, NLP is the power of using our subconscious mind, which is 90% of our communication. Imagine yourself speaking and communicating in only 10% as an active communication, but also 90% is our subconscious mind. I use this passionately to introduce all the aspects of NLP. I've done a lot of workshops with schools. I've developed something called anti-bullying kit, which is specifically, talking about bullying and how to have a voice, especially for women. I did this for the teenagers. I invited everyone, for the parents and teenagers, and I did this anti-bullying kit for having this voice of women. This resulted in many workshops with the schools that I've been invited to, and resulted for me winning the NLP International as a finalist, International Awards in the education sector among 3 around the world, and also being the Woman of Wonder of 2020 as for my community contribution. So it's been a very, very long journey. However, I did it out of having a voice. So I felt like every woman has a voice, especially teenagers. Their voice is not always heard. They're not always expressing themselves. So actually, I found this as a cause for the society and the community. And knowing that also everyone is different. This is exactly what I wanted to share today with all the audience, that each and every individual is unique and different. So if we find out what is the difference and what makes people unique, we will be able to identify their strength and give them this kind of huge power that they can conquer the whole world. So actually identifying this through the communication styles of each and every individual, NLP speaking about that people have are either auditory or kinesthetic or visual. So knowing what kind of communication I need to tie this to other people, how can I tie my communication to reach them better, knowing their learning style, knowing their communication style, and tying this as an educator or as a teacher or even in the whole society. How can we communicate better? How can we improve and capitalize on the strength of each and every individual? If we only knew this, if only this happened even in our society, in our corporates, how much is it important for the communication to reach us? We will be able to learn more and to capitalize on education in all and each and every aspect. Speaking also about the limiting beliefs, which are holding us from learning and trying new things, especially for girls. They might have a lot of sometimes with the society, some beliefs that they have been programmed at. If they only identify these beliefs and capitalize also on how they overcome these beliefs and fears, I'm sure that all the women will do wonders. Speaking today only about women, but this is all, this can be for women, this can be for men, and each and every individual. I truly believe in the strength and uniqueness of each and every individual. And this is what NLP is a tool, is again something that, one of the tools that we can use. But however, it's about the mindset. We need to have this mindset and, a strong belief that each and every individual is unique in his own. Looking into our programs, visiting our beliefs, overcoming our fears, making sure that our fears are not hindering us from achieving our goals. This will all lead us to achieve and do wonders in the world, especially in our time where there is a lot of, concerns and anxiety around the world now. We need to have true believe in ourselves, in our skills, in the God's talents. Each and every person has a talent that God has gifted us. So it's all about our gaining back the confidence in our strength, gaining back the confidence that we can do whatever we want to do if only we focus our mindset, which is exactly NLP is speaking about. 90% again of our mind is subconscious mind. So it's our thoughts, it's our actions, it's our beliefs, it's our values. This is all will lead us to, conquer and do wonders in our world.
That's amazing. I think let's involve Fatima to share her thoughts, and then we will take up Sharifa, followed by her. Yes, Fatima, mic is with you.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Sharifa, for sharing your thoughts on NLP. My intervention is kind of the pre-story of what Sharifa just did. So that would have been really nice if I went first and then she went second, because it makes for a great continuation. I'm a firm believer that until we empower ourselves, until we find everything within ourselves, then we can power it and then we can pass it on to others. And then this is one of the quotes I included in my first book. Everything starts from within. Love starts with self-love, care starts with the care from and then power starts with the strength within. And then this is why today my intervention today is called The Power of Being You. Now, when I saw the title, the theme of today's conference, the word global and businesswoman, these two words were not among my glossary of achievements or potential while growing up as an Arab woman. Not because I had a lack of imagination or lack of self-belief in myself, but because I was not taught. I was never even led to believe that there were options at my disposition in the first place. And I'm not the only one. I believe that there were so many girls that they grow up with this very boxed and limited way of education and teaching, that instead of teaching them that they can fly, and yes, ladies, we can fly, it trims their wings. Both family and school and corporate later on do play a major role in this. I would call them co-conspirators. But then we don't stop there. I remember when growing up, I was always asked this question: what do you want to do when you grow up? What is your dream job? We were always told that we can have jobs. No one told us that we can actually create them. And that's something that, for me, I had to actually find out on my own. And it was while working for a corporate, sitting in an auditorium full of other teaching staff, most of which were ladies. And then there was a guy taking the stage and hurling threats at us and telling us that if we didn't like the horrifying way they were treating us, well, the market was oversaturated with teachers, with employees who would jump at it. And that's when I was like, I took notice of the horror on everyone's faces, on the silence that had befell the room, and then on the quietness. Every rebellious voice grew fainter and fainter. And that's when I realized I don't want to work for someone like that. In fact, I actually want to be my own boss. Well, I didn't know anything about being my own boss because, again, I was not taught how to be my own boss or how to be someone who owns their own business and who gives and caters to other people's needs. And when I told everyone, including myself, that, I'm out, I don't want to have this job anymore, I remember also the look on their faces, because no one dared say anything to me. It was a mixture of shock, terror, panic, doubt, and also pity. I was like, what are you going to do? And probably for a very long time in my life, I said, I don't know, but I will figure it out. And the not knowing part did last for some time, because I don't want to over-romanticize the whole thing. I was just sitting, I walked, and then there was a tree, and then I had a light bulb going on. Like that. It took some time of not knowing, of definitely having doubt. I was not certain. I was not ready for it. And when people asked me, what are you going to do next? I just kept saying, I don't know, but I will figure it out. Because here's the thing. Yes, I was not taught these things, but I knew that I could spend some time learning. I spent the time, actually, and I did some learning. I did some searching. I did some self-rediscovery, and I reconnected with my real old dreams. And that's when I started turning things around. I'm someone who's worked in Saudi Arabia for some time, and Saudi, just like UAE, they are following in they're doing so much for women. But then the girls I was teaching at that point, I asked them the question, "What is your dream?" And out of 30 students, but most of them said, "Well, why dream? It is pointless to dream because, the greatest thing we could do is become a cashier in someone else's company." It's like, no. And I took them to the college's Wall of Fame, where portraits of these beautiful, talented Saudi ladies hang there. And they have done amazing things in every domain of life you can imagine. Just look at them. They were raised in families just like us. They went to the same universities. They lived in the same society. The only difference is that they didn't settle. They didn't take no for an answer. They still went for it despite all of those hurdles in their ways. And they made it happen. And instead of hearing, yes, miss, we can do it, I usually get, but it's too late. It's like, no, love, it's never too late to dream. Dreams, goals don't have deadlines. They don't have expiration dates. Take it from me. I spent years of my life running from one education to the other, from one job to the other. And then one day I had that snap and I thought, okay, no, I actually can do things myself. And as I introduced myself, it's been a year since I created Better Ever After. And we are catering now for customers from more than 7 countries around the world. We have speaking engagement. We do consulting, coaching, I'm writing my books. I have interviews on TV, podcasts, and it's working on me. I'm thriving, and I know that others can thrive too. And then this is the kind of education I want us to offer to our girls, be it mothers, sisters, daughters, nieces, friends, any woman we cross paths with. This is the kind of education I want us to make available for our women, young and adult. You can be Khadija, the Prophet's wife, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can be Oprah, you can be Lalla Fatma, you can be Serena Williams, you can be Charlize, you can be Jelena, you can be Khulud, you can be Nada, you can be any one of these amazing, beautiful ladies, and much, much more. Everything you need, ladies, is already deep inside you. It's your uniqueness, and it's the power of being you. Like, that's something no one can match or no one can take away from you. Thank you. This has been my piece. I hope it has lightened up your path, and it would probably lead you down the path of a better ever after of your own as well.
Amazing thought. I think this is the starter, main course is still there. So we will come back to you, and we'll take a lot of more thoughts about your journey, about transforming yourself from an employee to an employer. So let's move towards Sharifa. Sharifa, what are your thoughts of the day?
I think it's very inspiring and motivational so far. So I'm kind of happy to continue on the same route. And something that I really thought about, and I just like to start off by saying that at the moment, obviously, the biggest concern is obviously the job market has definitely been affected by the pandemic. And as an HR and L&D expert, what I wanted to do is share a few points on how us women can actually improve our chances of employment. And with that being said, what you find very often, as information is how do you apply for jobs and all of that. But something I wanted to look at is considering obviously tough times, everybody is fighting the same battle. And what we need to do is how to stand out. And that's something that very interesting was a topic that we heard throughout. It's everyone had something different to say about how you can stand out as an individual, as a woman. But something I want to focus on is how can you stand out to make yourself different so companies can hire you. I've spoken to a lot of women, some of which are looking to change their jobs, or some of them looking to get employed. And the same thing goes as people are just looking at companies and blaming the companies. I understand that obviously, companies have control over the outcome of employment, but I think we're in control of our personal brand. And that's what makes you different. And that's why companies should hire you. So what I've done is I've packaged a solution in 3 simple steps, and I like to call it KSA, not Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but knowledge, skills, and attitude, right? So I'll start off by the first one, which is the knowledge, right? The knowledge, I like to break it down into 2 parts. The first part is your self-awareness, is your emotional intelligence. I think some of the ladies have brought amazing things to say is, believe in yourself. It's about how you communicate, the visual, kinesthetic, auditory, how you communicate with people. This is all about, being emotional intelligent. That's very important. The second part is obviously your job knowledge. Now, considering obviously, COVID leading to a lot of restructuring, and, a lot of roles have restructured and changed the way, responsibilities or, the way we do things. Considering the fact that, training used to be in a classroom and now it's very often virtual. So we need to be able to learn new skills in order to adapt with all of the changes. So that's something that we need to be aware of, is knowledge on myself and my own, improving my own self-awareness, emotional intelligence, but also my job knowledge. What are my competitors doing? What do I need to learn, right? And then we go into the S, which is the skills. How do I put my learning to practice? Now, I just want to ask you a question to self-reflect. I'm sure many of us have been to a training and maybe even a conference, right? And a lot of times we're so inspired and so engaged to the point where we think, I'm going to make a difference when I get back. But what happens when we get back to the job is we don't actually make a difference. We continue where we left off because we forget. Right? So something I always ask people to do is create a goal, and not 10, not 5, not even 3, 1 or 2, because that makes it realistic, right? So have a goal to be able to apply whatever you've learned into what you're actually doing. And that way you get to use your skill. It becomes almost second nature, right? And realizing as well, what got you here won't get you there. We always need to change things. Sometimes I speak to people and they tell me, I have 13 years of experience, but a lot of companies have different ways of doing things, right? The way, companies used to work in the 2000s probably won't work the same anymore. So we need to keep adapting. Times are changing. I think the more with time, generation, kids are getting smarter. I think I feel dumber by the day. So people are getting smarter and we need to get on board. So last but not least is attitude. And attitude, I mean, working on your mindset, your motivation, what drives you. And I'll give you an example. You can have knowledge, right, which is the K, and you can have the skills, which is the experience. However, so with that being said, before I go into however, is I know how to do my job very well, right? I have the knowledge to do it, and I have the experience because I've been doing it really well for so long. But I'm not doing very well at the moment. And that could probably be triggered by my attitude, meaning something related to whether it's my drive, my motivation, or my mindset. And that's something we need to work on. So we need to be able to change the way we think in alignment to achieve what we want. And that's something that I heard a lot from Fatima. We need to be able to open our mind and just think about, the fact that we can do it. Yes, we're not, sometimes we grow up being programmed to believe, or to grow up in a box, but sometimes we need to step away from the box. And sometimes our limitations are sometimes something that we create on our own. Sometimes your fear is what stops you, not the excuse that you give as a result of it. So it's so important to eliminate negative self-talk and just lead by example. So always remember KSA, right? So your knowledge, whether it's yourself internally, and as well as your knowledge when it comes to the industry, when it comes to your career, your job, and then you have your skills, putting your learning to practice, and your attitude, which is your mindset, your motivation, your drive. Matter of fact, research shows that people who are being coached and empowered exhibit 38% more discretionary effort. So that's just to prove the fact that, it's sky is the limit when you believe in yourself. So don't stop believing. And that's what I have to say.
That's amazing. I think all three of you has thoughts which are full of energy and motivation. With this, I will move back to Nada, and I have a couple of questions I extracted from the common discussion. So, Nada, if you got an opportunity to become the personal coach or a development expert for the president of your country, so what you are going to feed as a neuro inputs that for women, like in your country, what you feel like is lacking, what you want to feed in his or her brain? Can you please let me know?
I will look into her programs. Every one of us has something called programming. Neuro-linguistic programming is actually how we were programmed in the past. And then what language we're speaking to ourselves is called a story. What kind of story are you telling yourself every day? Is it a good story or is it a repetitive story? Are you being in a victim mode or in a creator mode? So again, the victim mode, people sometimes they put themselves into the victim mode. They don't want to go out because it's a comfort zone. So I will look into these things first. I will see whether she has a story that she keeps telling herself so many times that she's not empowering herself to move on and go out of this kind of comfort zone. And what about her beliefs? The top 10 limiting beliefs are: I'm not good enough, I'm not powerful enough, I'm not educated enough. These are kind of stories that we speak to ourselves many times, and it's called the monkey mind. The monkey mind, have you heard about it? It's the everything like the monkeys here is always like, telling you the same story every day. So this kind of negative self-talk, internal dialogue, the beliefs, everything is internally that we cannot speak about, but it's us, it's our mindset. If we dig deeper about that, this is where we can start from. Any kind of belief, by the way, is replaceable, which means if we just think about another empowering belief, it's very easy to replace it. It's not a big deal, or it's not something that is, absolutely not doable. No, it's very doable, but it's only about, Sharifa has spoken about the self-consciousness, being aware of yourself, self-awareness, and as well, Fatima, about how much you need to believe in yourself. All these things is only us that we are empowered to do. No one else will come to tell you you need to believe in yourself unless you really want to do it from your heart. You really want to do, because no one, even for us as coaches, you can say so hundreds of words, but if the person is not willing to change, you just tell them, sorry, I cannot. So it's a self-motivation, and it comes from within. So any woman who needs to change, if she doesn't have this kind of power to change and motivation, even if we say hundreds of words, it will never be going through her heart, and she will never be able to do anything. I can see so many people, like, they don't want to change, they simply just talk, they don't want to change. Every time I speak to them, they're still in the same story. They're not able to empower themselves to change, even with the help. If you don't have it inside you to have this kind of action, take your first action, it will probably not come.
That's it. Sound to me like those people who listen and don't want to change are mostly the husbands, if I'm not wrong.
Sorry, the experts.
So
no,
yeah, I was just joking. So my question is from you is, there are a lot of women who want to who has already felt that they want financial independence, but somehow, because of the negative atmosphere around, it can be a brother, it can be a husband, it can be a father, who is actually stopping them not to be doing anything that they think. So how they can, what is your advice, how to handle this kind of scenario?
I would say to the woman, do whatever you see that you need to do. If you step up and speak out, and as I said, like empowering the voice of women, speaking out, saying that I cannot tolerate this, I am not this person, I need to change. It's you have to have a rebellious but also reasonable mind. You cannot say like I will never see you again or something like. No, you have to be reasonable in your requests. I mean, you need to ask their support. You need to have their buy-in with you as well. More going alone in something new is not advisory. You need to have this kind of support system around you, but also never ever, if you want to do something, never ever just sit down and do nothing. You need to speak up. You need to have a voice, and you need to convince them that this is not you. And I always say, like, our fathers, our husbands, our everyone around us, we need them. Masculine and feminine energy are very important in our life. We can never live alone without a masculine, and the masculine never. This is God's, creation for us. So we need to have this balanced, and neither be superwoman without anyone helping her, and neither be a man that he says like, I don't want any woman in my life. No, it's something that is balanced. Everyone has a role in life, and this is why we have been created to support each other again. So my advice is, get them in your in your zone, get them to support you, and never just feel that they are your enemy. They might have their programs as well, they might have their beliefs, they might have their maps. We always say the map is not the territory, which means everyone has his own map, has his own program. So this is what they knew back when they were, raised by their parents. So have some empathy towards the maps, the different perspectives, and get them with you in your whole zone to support you. Any woman, she needs support from people around her.
That's an amazing advice. So I will take some comments from Fatima because she is the happiness coach. So there are so many women in the world which are not, they are not happy with their surroundings. They don't have better jobs. They don't have opportunities to uh, the healthcare and education. I mean, they want to study, but no one let them study. If someone let them study, the study is bad quality. So, in all these difficult situations, how can you, what you can advise them, how to bring happiness in their life?
Thank you, Musa. Now, here's the thing. When people hear the word happiness coach, they have Santa Claus in their mind, and they think of someone bringing bags and giving everyone freebies. That's not how it works. But, the thing with happiness is that it is a choice, and it's a decision, and it's a mindset, and it's in the here and now. Do you want to be happy? The thing with people is that they wait for everything around them to be perfect, to align for them to be happy. And that's the mistake. Happiness is not a feeling, it's an action. Do the things that make you happy. Now, I've just shared glimpses of my life, but I always tell people I've been through all kinds of things. And I've been on the other side of being that person who's negative and who always focuses on these. But then breaking through to the other side, I realized, you know what? I was just, I lost so many years doing the right thing and focusing on the wrong things. So the first thing is shift your focus, ladies. Shift your focus from the things that you don't have yet to the things that you already have, the things that gratitude has a matchless power. Be grateful for what you already have. And then again, what is it that you, now, you've just said that people that, the women who are going through tough times, who have bad education, you can always do something about it. One of the things that make us feel miserable is the thing, like, what Nada has spoken about, the victim mentality and the victim mode that we activate. It's like we think that, oh, wow, we are helpless. You always have a choice. You always have a choice between this and that, between the positive and the negative. You can choose to be happy. You can choose to be successful. You can choose to do something with whatever it is that you have. Now, the good thing about being at rock bottom is that there is no lower place to go. It only goes upward. It only goes the way up. So that's something to look forward to. I tell people, what I tell people usually is that shift your focus, practice gratitude, and then build a happy routine around the things that you are doing so that it fortifies it. It helps you. What things make you happy? I usually tell my clients, do and make a happiness list. What are the things that make you happy? Is it a movie? Is it chocolate? Definitely something velvety. Is it being around with a friend? Whatever it is, well, definitely not doing the dishes, not for me. But whatever makes you happy, make it, put it on a list, write it down. And whenever you feel a bit low, try to use it as a rescue. Like run to it, pick yourself up, and then keep on moving. You are the only person who's in charge, who is in control of your state of mind, of your state of feelings. Do not let others tell you otherwise, and do not let the exterior factors affect that or take it away from you.
That's an amazing. So I will put another scenario in front of you. There are some working women. Their husbands are not working, not workable, even not earning, and on top of it, they have kids as well. And one of the most important thing is that when they go home, they are the victim of domestic violence. Means husbands physically torture them, abuse them, whatever you can say. Domestic violence is a good word for it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, how they can find happiness when they know that there is no escape outside, inside, and they are stuck in the vicious circle. So, what is your advice for such kind of professional women?
Domestic violence is definitely one of the topics that really hit me hard and I talk about continuously. I've written about them in my books and I usually speak about them as well in my speeches. I would like to disagree with what you just said, Musa. There is no escape. There is always an escape. No one is stuck. The only place you are stuck in here is this place, your mind. This is what your mind tells you. You are stuck here. You're stuck in this relationship. You're stuck with this person. You can always end stuck yourself. I will definitely tell women, work on yourself, because a woman who's been through an abusive relationship is a woman who is fragile. Her feelings are shattered. Her self-worth is shattered. She's very dependent emotionally, financially on that man. So this is like an advice that I've already given to people, and it definitely has worked, and I'm grateful that it did, and I definitely would love to share it with women. If you think that there is nothing to salvage in that relationship, if you think that there is no redemption for that man who keeps beating you, and it only gets worse, especially I always tell women, it's like cheating can probably be reconciled, and if it happens once, but then the beating always, once a beater, always a beater. He will always hit you again, and it usually gets more violent with time, and it moves sometimes from the wife to the kids. So if there is no redemption, if there is no salvation, work on yourself first. Build yourself up. Build your independence financially, emotionally, psychologically, mentally. And when the time is right, quit. Because that is the only way. There is an escape, but first you have to work on yourself, and you have to realize that that man is not everything, and that state of marriage is not even a marriage, because it's supposed to be a happy ever after, and you only see in the misery part and like the horrible part of it. And think also of your children, because you can still give them and provide them with that safe haven when there is true happiness, where there is emotional stability, where there is everything that you want. But work on yourself first, and then you will get there.
That's an amazing suggestion to the woman who is the victim of domestic violence. I'm sure that there are a lot of issues and cases I personally feel is increasing. You might know that in COVID-19, domestic violence in different countries has increased to a very high level. And the reason is, of course, you're sitting at home, you're doing nothing, and the financial stress and relation issues are getting all mixed together and increase in domestic violence. According to the statistics, I can predict, I can say, very safely. So with this, we will move forward to Sharifa. Sharifa, yes. So my question from you is that if you become a coach for your country, prime minister or president, and you are very passionate about women development, women entrepreneurship, financial independence. So what you will feed in their brain that can make a difference in, say, 1 year? If I visit your country, I come to know that women in the parliament, they have access to free education, free healthcare. Please go ahead.
So I think we're very lucky with the fact that earlier, I think when you were discussing, UAE, obviously there's a lot of powerful women leadership. It's very something that's spoken a lot, and we're encouraging women very often. I think something that I would do is, upon my years of experience, what I have realized is you will either find extremely ambitious women and sometimes overly ambitious, right? Not knowing how to get there. And then there are some people who are really underestimating themselves. So I think both of them, if I was to put them all together, it's more about self-awareness and the journey of getting there. It's not about, very often I find when I speak to people, and this is not to, put a specific nationality or, to say everybody is like this, but a lot of people that I have interacted with, from the UAE, like working within the UAE of different nationalities, most of them have the mentality of, if I learn or if I go for a leadership course, then I'm entitled to a leadership position. So it's like I said earlier, we talked about, you know, the KSA, which is, do you have the knowledge, but you need experience with time. And it's also about, you know, how you are, your mindset. So it's pretty much about learning about yourself. I think that's something, there needs to be more tools available, you know, such as, for example, coaches and mentors. I think a lot of people, I find very often at the workplace saying, you know, I coach my teams, but actually they're advising their teams. And I think advising people is great, but not when people are not asking for your advice, sadly, right? So coaching is all about empowering people, asking them the right questions and getting them to give you the answers, having them, holding them accountable for their decisions. So number one is self-awareness, but also coaching people, asking them, where do you want to be? What do you have to do to get there? What is stopping you? What are you going to do next? And then meeting them again and being able to, you know, continue that discussion. You know, we need more coaches, more mentors. That's, I think, the biggest thing that we're lacking. And when you hear that, to be honest, it's sometimes it's about quality also and not quantity when it comes to coaches as well. So having quality coaches, having quality mentors.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think, like, if a woman wants to transform herself from an employee to employer, what kind of coaching you would like to advise them?
Okay, so first of all, I would understand what, you know, where they, I mean, what is their goal, basically. It would be a huge topic, you know, when it comes to opening a business. There would be, you know, a lot of things to take into consideration that would be broken down to a lot of different factors. It may be that I would even recommend a couple of people for her to speak to, you know, to be able to advise on certain things. But from my aspect as a coach, I would definitely, you know, ask from them, what is their goal? What does that company look like? Be able to create a realistic plan, you know, from the person's opinion. And it's almost they're creating their own plan and, you know, allowing them to slowly get through, you know, each phase. It's almost like the discussion you had earlier of people say they want to do things, but then they're afraid of doing it and they don't do it. You know, they say they want to do it, but they really don't. So it's about holding people accountable towards doing it. So it's having that discussion ongoingly, but, you know, allowing them to come up with the answers. And I want to say why I keep repeating coaching them and empowering them and allowing them to you know, to be accountable is because if I tell you, you have to do this by next week, most probably you're not going to do it, right? Because it's your life, it's your decisions. But if I ask you, what do you need to do? And that's what you tell me. And I ask you by when you would be able to do it, you're most likely to do it because it's your decision. It's something that you came up with rather than being forced to it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Like in terms of bottom up and top down strategies, bottom up is always the perfect one where we ask every individual to contribute. And of course, once they have contributed, so they have to follow that. These are beautiful thoughts. And we are almost in the end of our discussion. 5 minutes are left. So I will ask you, like, I will request you to just give your closing remarks. I will start with Nada, then Fatima, and then Sharif.
I just want to say to everyone, like, never be afraid to try new things. Never say to yourself, like, how can I do this? Forget about the strategy. Just decide that you want to do whatever any kind of goals that you want to achieve. I remember in 2013, I had a lot of depression due to the loss of my mother, and I was able to really transform hugely my life because I just felt more aware of myself, felt more aware of my strength, focusing more on being resourceful, focusing more on what I have rather than what I don't have. So if you only decide to look at what is around you and capitalize on all the resources that you have, learning new skills and not being able to have this kind of fears that limit us, it's all in our heads. So this is really what I want to advise every woman, to challenge herself, to fight for her dreams, and to just believe in herself and what she has as strength, and just never look at the strategy. The strategy will follow, but only look at the story. What kind of story you tell to yourself.
That's an amazing advice. I think one of my friend, he was actually want to follow your advice, but he want to marry second time, but his wife is not agreed to, to the story
This
and
is
to
a
change.
bad story.
That's an amazing. I want to thank you very much for
Thank you so
joining
much.
this,
Thank you
and I'm
so
looking
much.
forward
It's a
to
pleasure.
have you more in the next shows.
Thank you so
So
much. It's a pleasure.
let's move towards Fatima and take the closing remarks. Yes, Fatima, what are your closing remarks for the day? I think there is some connection issue. Meanwhile, I can take the closing remarks of Sharifa. Sharifa, please, your closing remarks.
Yeah, so I want to keep it simple. I think throughout the day, the themes were very clear and very inspiring, very motivational. I think it's nice to end it with, look at every challenge as an opportunity instead of a limitation. And that's simply what I'd like to say going forward.
That's very full of seed drops,
Yes.
combined into a box. That's great advice to the women listening to you all over the world. And I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
That's great. So with this, we will move towards our next. So Fatma has already joined. Fatma, what are your closing remarks of the day?
If I want to leave you with one golden nugget, it would be to invest in yourself all the time. Being here today is already an investment, but keep on doing it. This is the one assured way towards always evolving, always growing. And then that's the only thing that we can do. If we stop growing, basically we die, even if we are still moving and breathing on this. So always invest in yourself through these events. Invest in the things that really matter to you, your learning, your relationships, your growth, your business, your studies. Never stop doing that. And then the second one would be to be conscious. Nada has already spoken about how our unconscious actually reserves 90% of our lives. So be conscious of your choices, of your thoughts, of your emotions, of your feelings. And that's the way you can actually make an impact and have lasting changes throughout your life. I would like to thank everyone for sharing the golden pieces that they have done. Berkeley, again, for the invitation, everyone who has tuned in the audience, and I would like to keep in touch and connect with everyone on Instagram, on my other accounts, Facebook and YouTube, but mostly definitely on Instagram, Coach Fatima. I'll see you there.
I think these are lovely thoughts. And Fatima, I would like to have some more conversations in my any other programs regarding women in your country, the motivation, the opportunities about healthcare, education,
Definitely, I would
how you transform. So maybe in any other next program, we will sit together and talk more in detail about it. I want to thank you very much for joining us far away and representing your country, and I'm looking forward to have you more in future.
Thank you.
With this, we will move towards our next section of the program. Dr. Ruby, welcome to the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much. Really honored to be here on this platform.
Audience is really excited to hear your thoughts of the day. So please, mic is with you and go ahead.
I'm really honored to be on this amazing platform, sharing my thoughts on women empowerment. I was listening to the enumerating observations and talks by our other female panelists, and it was amazing to see that everyone has one main message: invest in yourself. Yes, it's a must. We women always forget to invest on ourselves. We keep ourselves on the lowest pedestal. Time is to reinvent the awesome you. I say this to all the people everywhere across the world. It is important because the more we invest on ourselves, the better we evolve. So, good afternoon, everyone. This is Ruby Bakshi Khurdi. I'm an educationist settled in Switzerland. I've been teaching master's, bachelor's, and doctorate students in business and hospitality students here. And it's always nice to see how our students evolve with passage of time, how they understand the basics of time and life all the time. It's very important, especially for female educators, to feel the connection sometimes a bit more, because what you are teaching them, what you are telling them goes a long way. We are living in an era where we are always talking about women empowerment, how to do youth empowerment, kids empowerment. We're just talking big words like empowerment. Are we doing it? Are we actually working on empowering people all over or around us? The time is to keep on working on it all the time, consistently, because the more we work on it, the more we'll be able to evolve as people ourselves first, and then empower people who are around us. The need of the hour pandemic has really been a big learning experience, I guess, for everyone. It had been very, I would say, troublesome. People were confused, angry, not knowing what to do, what is happening around. So in these circumstances, the need to empower became even more like a call for action. It was not just something that we are sitting in our rooms, in the luxury of our rooms, enjoying, reading, trying to analyze. No, the need of the hour was how we could empower other people. So first is to invest in yourself, and thereafter, when you feel that, yes, I am self-sufficient, you need to empower people who are around you. And I really believe in the quote, empowered women or empowered people empower people. The more you feel that you have some expertise, the time is to share it with other people. The time is to give it to the society. And I believe that the more you give by your female networks, by your women enterprises, it makes you stronger. It makes you evolve with passage of time. So the need of the hour definitely is to work on the things bit by bit in a way that, each and every day you're giving something to the people. You're giving something to the, people around you, people who need some help. Even when we're talking about women empowerment, it is important to see that how are we going to do that? How do we begin in the very first phase? There are lots and lots of women who have gotten in touch with me, and they always ask me, we have seen your tutorials on women empowerment on YouTube. You mentioned certain criteria how we can do it. But my question is, how do we start? Where do we start? So if we try to answer the 5 W's, everything rests around or makes it much clearer in terms of who, what, when, where, and why. So if you have the answers to these 5 W's in your mind, right, clear, crystal clear, concise, then you would definitely bring a change in the people around you. So once you have answered the 5 W's, we move to the how. So if I can say, I share my own experience. When I came to Switzerland, I was feeling lost. I was struggling because 1, I was facing a cultural shock, and 2, I was struggling with the language. At that point of time, I felt, I wish I knew somebody who could help me, who could help me deal with small basic things that where I need help. I started looking around to find help in terms of whether people understand the language, whether people understand, the basic, very, very basic things, because I was feeling very lonely. So I thought, if I had someone as close as my sister or as close as someone I can rely upon, it would be so easy for me. Because we women can't just trust anyone and everyone very easily. We have to be more cautious. At that point of time, I felt the need of a female network, of women network, where it could be like a community of sisterhood. And that small thing started building better and bigger with passage of time, when I started finding my kind of people. When I say my kind of people, which is people who have come from different countries and are trying to find their niche in a foreign country. You might be an expert. Each one of us are unique. Each one of us have our own skills. So when you connect together, when you make these networks, networks of women in leadership, women in diplomacy, women in business, women in education, be it anything, any network, when you start connecting and collaborating, things start becoming different. Things start changing in a bigger way. So the need of the hour has always been how we can connect these issues, how we can connect on some underlying facts and make them workable. So if we collaborate with the like-minded people, things start becoming easier. So I started having these, cultural festivals, getting around with people. I was also struggling with my French. And with these groups, we started supporting each other. Sometimes I wouldn't understand what they're saying. But what I did was, I would speak in my broken French and they would speak in their broken English, and we started communicating. So in this manner, how it started was to bring the haves and have-nots together. When I say haves and have-nots, it's like women who have already achieved something in life. They were actually living their purpose. They had some mission and they were actually doing it, were in the category of haves. On the other side, I had the have-nots, that is women who were struggling to find their niche. Women who were not really clear how to go about, what to do. So once I bridged the gap between these two haves and have-nots, things started becoming easier. Things started becoming much more clearer because they started finding their mission in life. And the ones who were in the haves category, they started feeling more empowered, because the power of giving is always nice. When you do something meaningful, when you do something constructive, you feel, yes, I did something. I achieved something this day. So it's important, when you keep connecting and making like a link, like a bridge between haves and have-nots, you find your mission in life. You start building communities where each and every person is benefiting in one way or another. So this started as a small exercise within here in the village where I live in Switzerland. And thereafter, I was invited on Women Economic Forum platform. I went to Portugal for a discussion. And there I became connected to a much bigger community of women. I started getting connected more and more. The more I went into these international platforms, the more I noticed that there's so much to do, and we can all work together, live together, and empower each other. I have recently joined this Willow Thrive as a board member, and I discovered so many other women who are doing great jobs in Middle East, UK, Netherlands, Amsterdam, now I'm in Switzerland. So it's like, when you connect, it was because of these platforms, we get to know, we get to see the bigger world. The picture starts becoming clearer, and you start finding what else I can do. The more you challenge yourself by saying, I have done this much, I need to do bit more, the more you will evolve. So building these communities of women networks, building these communities of female enterprises definitely boosts the morale of women in general. It's not that now we are talking about empowerment, we are empowered or we need empowerment. We have been empowered, Women have been empowered. They are the ones who give birth. They are the ones who are strong, both mentally and physically. But all they need is the reassurance that, yes, you can do it. That reassurance is only possible if we make strong communities of sisterhood and give that boost to each and every woman. Yes, you can do it. I am there for you. I'm there to support you. So women empowerment, even if you see the initials, WE is we. So if we are stronger, if we believe in the mission of yes, we can, nothing can stop us. Nothing can stop. And this can easily be more understood, more, I would say, like living, not just saying it, you're living, you're doing the walk the talk, as they say. So you're just not saying that I will do it. You actually do it now. Don't sit back thinking, I will help her someday. I will see what I can do for you. If you have the networks, if you have the connections, just go for it. These days, everyone is using social medias so much. We are virtually connected with everywhere across the world. So if you sitting in Switzerland can be connected to a person in States, don't just sit by saying I'm connected. Make sure that you are making this connection fruitful. Make sure that you are becoming the voice of the people who are not able to raise voice, who are not able to speak. So with my initiative of Reinvent the Awesome You, that is Ray Academy Swiss, I'm trying to give voice to the local women who come from different countries. They're not able to speak well. They're not able to analyze themselves very well. All I'm doing is connecting them in sisterhood, giving them a voice, so that the more and more you connect, believe in the system of community. It's very strong. We often ignore things which are very simple. We often don't look just below us, just next to us. We often look like this, where is it? We look further. But if we look close, we can definitely see there are a lot of things that can be achieved if we keep our eyes and ears open and help, share, care. These are not just words for saying, but actually doing it. Make use of social media in a way to connect with as many people as possible. And wherever you can help, just go for it. Build communities, build stronger communities of sisterhood, of womanhood. As an educator, I'm doing that for my students. Wherever I see my students need some kind of visibility, or where I see that they have done something meaningful, something constructive, I share it on platforms like LinkedIn or Instagram, because that's where more of the younger people are. And that's where most of the industries are moving. So if you have that expertise, don't sit with it. Just try to make use of it. Connect in such a way that people can make the best of it. And just go with conviction that anything and everything is possible if you believe in yourself. It's very important. If you believe I can do it, nothing can stop you. If you believe it is possible, it definitely is possible, because you have the conviction, and all you need is the people, the tribe, your tribe. So you have to keep your eyes and ears open to find the right kind of tribe, to connect with right kind of tribe. Because only if you connect with the right kind of people, nothing is going to stop you, and you are going to move on. You will keep on moving with more conviction, with more, I would say, confidence, and then nothing can stop you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I have my ma'am here commenting. So it's always nice. See, some of my students are here. Some of my teachers are here all the way from India, supporting me. Thank you so much for your connection and support, and supporting on all the channels, all the platforms. And that's what we need. Yes, Mr. Musa.
You're absolutely right in your thoughts. Creating a network is really important, helping the newcomers, and I appreciate your vision and your physical and support to the new women. And I'm sure that this is an amazing platform. I wish you good luck for your all ventures, and I'm very excited to know more things, but because time is not here, but maybe in future I will take you in my program and we will discuss more things about your passion to contribute to society in terms of those kids, female kids, who have no access to education in developing countries. And I live in UK, you live in Switzerland. These are social welfare countries. We have access to free education, free health, but unfortunately in different part of the world, this is not available. So people like us need to think about that we run those projects which will directly benefit the developing countries, kids, and the women for their free, and a voice for the parliaments and for the governments, like that they should take these things very seriously. So with these thoughts, I want to thank you for joining us, and I'm looking forward to have you more in my shows.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All the best.
So with this, we will move forward to the next speaker of the day.
Are a diverse team of experts and industry professionals. In a world of complexity and opportunities, organizations are trying to make new connections and find new ways of innovating. We collaborate with our clients to understand them and help solving their complex industry issues. To optimize their solutions so they can stand out and realize long-lasting results. We offer our clients financial services, HR and business solutions, accounting services, tax and audit, among others. To know more about what Berkeley Middle East can offer you, please log to
Good morning, I should say, because you are in Australia, and I was actually worried that you should not sleep because it's almost early morning at your side. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm actually really excited to be here. I hope you can hear me okay. No,
That's
it's an
all.
absolute pleasure to be here. It is early or late, depending on how you look at the time. So it's an honor to be here. So thank you very much, Mr. Musa.
That's amazing. I mean, you look so very flexible and accommodative person, and that's the quality of a successful woman. So, Tima, I want you to please introduce yourself to the global audience in a better way than me. I can introduce you for sure, but the way we introduce ourselves from the heart is always different. And Please go ahead.
So basically, my name is Tima, and I run a company called Tima Media and Consulting. But for many, many years, for about 16 years, I was in the finance industry for about 16 years. And in about 2018, I decided to basically leave the financial planning industry and start a completely new business. And also start a podcast. So that was like my passion. That was my reason for leaving the financial planning industry. And I really wanted something to be a lot more fulfilling for me. But I've been listening to the other speakers, and the topic of, I guess the main topic of today is really empowering women and just really helping women really be who they really want to be in the end, and live the life that they want. So I really want to touch on how I've been able to create my social presence digitally, which has also helped me not only grow my brand, but really helped me really introduce this business that I have right now, which is a media company where we help CEOs become thought leaders on the LinkedIn platform. And that really just came through basically just taking a chance on myself and believing in myself and actually doing something completely different and building something from scratch. So I'm going to try and share my screen. I had a little bit of an issue before. I'm going to try and actually do this now, but if I do have some issues, I'm going to basically just speak directly into the screen. So let me know, Musa, if you can, if you can all see my PowerPoint presentation. Will you be able to jump in?
We can see your screen, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for confirming that. Okay, so I'm going to basically just run through each page quite quickly because I know that you'll have some questions for me. So as I mentioned, I was in financial planning for 16 years. At the same time, when I decided to set up my own business, I had a fashion label. I was also running networking groups for women in business. And when I left the financial planning industry, I set up my podcast, and which then inspired me to set up this company whilst I was growing my brand online. So I started off with 500 connections in 2018, and within 5 months, I grew my connections to just under 25,000, and I'm just under 100,000 as we speak today. But it's not even just about the numbers.
Tima, I just want to tell you that the screen is not visible now. So can you reshare it, please, with the audience?
Reshare it. Okay. All right. No problem. Let's see. Okay. I'm sharing it again from, if we're going to have issues, then I will just continue to speak. So, okay. All right. Sorry about this, Musa. 1 second. What I'll do is I'll just forget the presentation because I don't want to take up the time. So basically, is everything okay? Can you see me now okay?
Perfectly fine. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. So basically, what I really wanted to touch on today is not only how I grew my personal brand, but some of the things that we help our clients with in terms of really growing their brand online. And when I'm talking about a brand, I'm talking about your personal brand. And this is how we communicate our value. We communicate our value through our own personal brand, because what that is really who we are in the real world, but infusing that in the digital world. And the way that I infuse that into the digital world is really tapping into my emotional intelligence. And that's something that is really, really key to really understanding how to communicate with people on a deep level. So when we're looking at emotional intelligence, what we're really talking about there is how do we manage our own emotions and how do we manage people's emotions so that we can really create influence in their lives and really help them with the decision-making process, especially when it comes to communicating with people through video content, much like what we're doing right now, which is through a live presentation. So some of the points that I really wanted to touch on, and I wish I could show you the presentation, but basically the 3 key things is really, one is clarity. It doesn't matter how small or how big your business is, or even if you're just an individual, it's really, really important to have that clarity as to why you are building a brand for yourself. Why? What is your why? You know, what is your purpose? What is your mission? Those are the sort of things that you need to have clarity around, because if you don't have that clarity, you really don't know where you're going to be guiding yourself when you are looking at communicating your content with people online, because that clarity is extremely important to really be able to build that connection. The next point is, as I was saying, connection. You need to feel really connected to whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. If you are say, for example, a coach, or you're in the finance industry and your focus is just purely to make money, people will actually feel that. You need to be connected to something that is a lot bigger than who you are, and the mission needs to be a lot bigger than your own existence. And when you are connected to something that is a lot bigger than what you're trying to achieve for yourself personally, this is one of the most magical ways where you can actually build a community of people that become advocates of your mission. So we've looked at clarity, we've looked at connection, and the other thing is consistency as well. Consistency is one of the keys when it comes to success in general. Some people get really disheartened and think, well, I've been posting content for, say, once a week or once every couple of weeks, and they're not getting that traction. If you look at consistency with really anything, you're building that muscle where you are teaching yourself these habits on a regular basis to not only just post regularly, but also communicate with things regularly, so that it helps you become a lot more creative, be more engaged with your audience, and really help you be able to really make an impact that way. Because sometimes people really get confused around this concept of visibility and the numbers and the likes, or the lack of likes and comments. And they also assume that their network will watch their content every single time they post it, which is actually not true. So we need to assume that a small percentage of people that are in your network will only see your content. So building that consistency as part of your plan is really going to help you build that influence that you really want to create online. And one of the things that I want to focus on is really having that self-awareness. Self-awareness has come up quite a bit in a lot of the conversations today. If you have that self-awareness and really understand what your own values are, and also what your natural gifts are, and you put those two together and you create content around that, but also being very specific to your audience, and really tapping into that emotional intelligence, as I mentioned, it's such a powerful way to be able to create content that really speaks to people's souls and really allows you to connect with people. One other thing that I also really recommend is for people to really engage with people online. Express yourself through your comments. That's also content as well. That's also another way to be able to communicate your value. And when I talk about communicating your value, what I'm really talking about there is one, speaking through your own values as an individual, speaking through the values of your company, but also speaking through your purpose as to whatever it is that you're trying to achieve and what your mission is out there. So they're really the things that I really wanted to cover tonight. It's unfortunate that I didn't have the presentations to show you, but I would love for people to actually reach out to me on LinkedIn if they have any questions. I just want to quickly double check and make sure that I haven't forgotten anything. But do you have any questions so far, Mr. Musa, at all?
That's amazing tips. I can see the group. I'm a group CEO and leading 14 CEOs under me. So I feel that your suggestions are really useful and valuable. I have a question. Like generally, as you said, that some people, they make their pages and they want to brand themselves, but they don't get that good response. So what is your suggestion to them, that what they should do to make it better? Is the where the problems mostly lies as an expert, what you see into?
So one, they need to look at the numbers. Okay, I understand that people are a little bit, focused on numbers, but much like anything, it takes a long time to build trust with people, because you've got to remember, the people that are actually connecting with you online, they don't know who you are. And it's really a trust situation. And the way to do that is by educating people and giving people information that they are going to apply in their life and actually make a difference. So there is a huge element of not talking about yourself and not focusing about yourself or your story, and really adding as much value as possible and educating people through content that is going to really help them make changes in their life. So there's a lot of free advice that needs to be given, a lot of very short content, 1 to 2 minute videos, not going over the top and getting straight to the point, but also engaging with their community and also taking those conversations offline and going into the direct messages. I cannot tell you how many hours I spend offline to be able to build the community that I have. It's not just what you see on the screen, it's really what happens behind the screen. So that's really how you build a network and how you build a community of people that really believe in what you do. Because if you're not investing in them, they're investing time in your content. Even if it's 1 or 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes of their life that they're investing in you. So it only makes sense for you to invest that back into those people as well, and really helping them really make a difference in their life. So, but that consistency is really, really important as well.
That's really useful. And there is also, I observed that some people, they believe in not too many connections. They just want to bring the quality connections. So do you agree with them or no? Like, for example, for me, 10 years before, my contacts reached to 30,000 in LinkedIn. And somehow I believe sometimes, because I don't know much of them, and but still I have a lot of contacts. So is it useful or no? We should only have the one that is precisely known to us.
Well, there's 2 levels I look at when it comes to the connections. So one, you need the mass that is going to help you spread your message. The people that aren't necessarily ever going to work with you or become your client, and that's okay. There are a lot of people out there that are like that, and they're the ones that are going to help spread your message, because they're the ones that really love what you have to say. They know that they'll never work with you, but they just genuinely love what you have to share because they feel like it's really valuable in their life, or it lifts up their mood, or it makes them feel inspired. So you need to look at it in one aspect there. The other layer is, well, who is your target audience and how do we speak directly to them? What are the emotive words that they are thinking and feeling in the moment? So for example, if someone is going to look for something specific to your industry, think of the questions that they would be typing in Google, and that should be the type of content that you should be creating so that you can reach to that audience as well. Now, you've got to remember, your network 10 years ago would have been a lot fresher. My question is, well, how dormant is your network? How engaged are they? And how engaged are you with your network as well, when it comes to not only just your content, but also having those discussions behind the scenes, maybe engaging on their profiles as well. So there are quite a bit to sort of really look at there, but that sort of covers some of the things that you've asked.
You're really right that it's very important to keep your community engaged, because just having a community is not a big deal. I mean, there are paid clicks, there are paid contacts that you can bring into by paying to LinkedIn and other medias, but how effectively you use them is a really important challenge to anyone. That's great. So what would be your closing thoughts of the day?
My closing thoughts is we need more women on the platform and more women from diverse backgrounds. And one of the reasons why I feel that my content does really, really well is because I'm different. I obviously don't look like a Western person, and there's nothing wrong with being a Western person, by the way. It's just that I represent another community of women and a community of people where people actually resonate with that. And we need a lot more women that have a real mission and a real purpose, and they are willing to put themselves out there. It's not just about just being on someone's screen. It's really wanting to be a force and really being a powerhouse where you actually want to make a difference in the world. And LinkedIn is a fantastic place, not even just LinkedIn, just creating a brand for yourself. That brand is invaluable. No one can take that away from you. That's your reputation. And having that digital brand and building that social currency, like, you cannot put a price on that because you don't know where it's going to take you. I cannot tell you how many opportunities have come my way purely because of my brand. The people that I've interviewed on my podcast, I've interviewed the most successful people globally. I achieve close to 1 million views a month on my content. I mean, the amount of reach that I get is incredible. And people, not only do they have respect for me purely because of just the number, but also because they know that I have a really fantastic reputation. And my reputation is built not just through my content, it's the behind the scenes. So I highly encourage these women that are just watching today, if this is something that you've been thinking about for a long, long time, all you need to do is just think of what is the impact you want to have on people's lives and actually work backwards and share your message and be very consistent with it.
That's amazing. I think Khalood already told me about your network, and I wish you good luck for that. And
Thank
Berkeley
you.
is fully supportive for your network. We can co-share everything that you are looking for. And with this broadcast, of course, a lot of people are listening, and post-broadcast, there will be a lot of publicity on this thing. So I hope that things will really work for you. And I want to thank you very much for joining tonight.
Thank
And
you.
a special thanks to you because you wake up whole the night and watch our program and contribute to it. This is really impressive and amazing.
No, it's my pleasure. And I'm sorry the presentation didn't work, but if anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for having me.
That's amazing. So with this, we will move forward towards our next section of the day. And this is a very beautiful panel. Let me introduce you with the panelists. Welcome, ladies, to the panel, and thank you very much for taking out the time. The format is very simple, that you have to introduce yourself, and then you need to, one by one, and after introductions, you will speak your thoughts of the day. So we'll start with the first one.
Shall I go ahead, Musa? Perfect.
Please.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Musa, for the invitation to speak here, also for Berkeley. So my name is Kirsten Westholter. I'm a business strategist, and I'm actually the founder of Rising Phoenix Consultancy. What I also do is I work and connect consultants and also clients to a powerful AI application. And actually, it's revolutionizing really the world of consultancy. So I'm very excited about that one. I'm originally from the Netherlands, and I moved to Dubai about 5 years ago. And I truly left behind a very stable life to do something completely else here. And what I really like to do is inspiring other people to step outside their comfort zones, to light their spark and follow their heart. I have a few life mottos as well. One is definitely die with memories, not dreams. And the other one, which is very related, I think, to our topic today, is learn, continuously learn. I love to learn something small, even if it's small every day. Quickly, in addition to my professional life, I'm actually also an amateur poet. What I do is I look at what's happening around me and I write about it. It's a way to deal with things in my life. And as you can see, my company's name is Rising Phoenix. And I've truly embraced the legend of the Phoenix. And I believe that you always have a choice. And I heard this from the other women earlier today. But I do think you always have a choice to change things and to rise from the ashes. I think that's amazing. My introduction.
That's amazing introduction. Let's take the introduction of Jelena, and then we will come back to you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jelena, and I come from Serbia. Before I came here to Dubai. I used to be a lawyer for 6 years. I'm holding a bachelor and master degree in human rights, and this is the right conference for me, I guess. I'm working in Emirates Airline for the last 10 years. However, I never lost the touch with the law. I'm still in touch with my colleagues back home in Serbia, giving them external advices as a legal advisor in different violation of human rights, especially children's human rights and women human rights, and divorce cases. So I'm
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's amazing, because we were really excited when we come across your profile, that how you transform your career. And today I'm going to ask a lot of things from you. So let's go back to Christine. And Christine, what are your thoughts of the day?
What I would like to share actually with the audience is my thoughts about a theme related to balance for life, which was our main theme for our discussion. And I would like to talk about resilience today. I think resilience is undoubtedly connected with balance. And whenever I think about resilience, and I don't know if that's the case for other people as well, but I think about nature. And I think about like a willow tree, I think about a river, I think about a colony of ants. And what strikes me the most is their ability to actually bounce back, and also their ability to already have a process in place to do so. Because if you look at a tree like a willow tree, those have like very strong roots, and their whole structure is meant to bend with the wind. And a parallel with that is actually we as human beings. I really also believe that we human beings are capable to change, and we do it all the time. The only problem is often we have expectations, and we struggle at the moment that these expectations are not going the way as we had hoped them to go. And also at the moment that other people are trying to influence us or are trying to make us change. And that is also in human nature. We resist being changed. And I truly believe that the more energy we spend in these negative things, in our anger, our frustration, the less we're capable to move on from that stage. And for me, and I think for a lot of other people as well, it is again to find our own roots and to find a way to be resilient and to cope with a lot of things we're dealing with. And I do believe we can learn to be stronger and wiser, and also learn from our experiences to get stronger. Me, myself, I have experienced also a lot of setbacks during my life. And I do believe, again, that I had a choice to go a certain direction, and other people do as well. And I always see three key themes if I talk about resilience. And these are self-care, focus on what you can control in life, but also listening to your inner voice. And in the remaining part, I would like to share some of my experiences and to make that clear to you. So I was born in the Netherlands, in a very small town, quite already a long time ago. And I had a bit of a struggle in my childhood. My parents were quite a bit older. My father was 15 years older than my mom, was not able to work anymore because of his disease. He had a heart disease. And my mom suffered from polio when she was a child. So my parents were home 24/7, like constantly also trying to influence me, and of course wanting the best. But it didn't always get out as like getting the best out of it. So what happened is that my dad wanted to push me to university, for instance, and I always had like certain friends around me with a much lower education. My father didn't want me to have these type of friends, and it was so heavy in our family that he actually used his disease and my mom's disease against me, just to control me. That didn't happen, and I'm still here, and I think I achieved a lot, but it was a hard thing. And also during later stages in life, I lost my former father-in-law in a fire in his place. And at one moment, I also found my mom back in her place, owning only the clothes she was wearing at that time. She threw out all her stuff because she was suffering from schizophrenia and some other mental disorders. I had to get her admitted in a nursing home, and it is what you do. I don't have like real family in the Netherlands. I have a lot of friends, but at the end, it's me making decisions. And fast forward, moving to October last year, getting a call from the nursing home where she was at that moment. My mother fell a few days before, but it was like quite serious. Day after, I had to jump back on the plane to the Netherlands, just in time to have just that connection with her. A couple of days later, she died. Reason why I'm telling this is not for people to have pity with me, but just also to explain that I have a choice how to deal with these type of situations. People always tell me like, oh, you're so strong and I can never do this kind of thing. I have something like, you have a choice and there is no other way than to deal with these things and not get stuck in a kind of, how do you say that? A victimized role. That's also how I see it, how I started my own business here. So 5 years ago, I came to Dubai. I left everything I had in the Netherlands, practically. I had a 20-year-old relationship, didn't survive. I had a very stable career as a consultant. I wanted to do something different. So at the age of 46 years old, I started my own company. And I believe we as women can do that. If we believe in ourselves, if we follow also our inner drive, and it's not always easy. And also when Corona hit last year, I was just in the phase of building up my business and boom, Corona. And I had to change my business model and like do everything I could to restart. It's also something I teach actually to startups and to think without a box, not even like inside a box. But I think we can all do that and we can all create that change. There are a lot of ideas also in women, and if only we are able to listen to our inner voice, our inner drive, and this inner voice is actually very positive. It does give you ideas, it does give you options to create. And to conclude this, I would really like to tell the audience, try to ignore that other voice. There's always that other voice that says, nah, you can't do that, or you have never done such a thing. How can you be successful in that? Well, I actually learned things about myself that I'm actually good at some things, and I had never imagined I could do that. So believe in yourself, do the things you want to do, listen to that inner voice, and please also just focus on the things you can control instead of all the things you can't control. I would like to conclude with that one, Musa.
That's really superb. Your thoughts are really encouraging, and our audience, I think, got a great value from your life story. And you're absolutely right that it's your choice that how you take the life, and your decisions bring your success. And with these thoughts, let's move to Jelena and see like what she has for the day.
Thank you so much, Musa. I would just like to come back on our subject, balance for life, which is really a good subject towards me because I used to be a lawyer, and I'm still doing this job just externally as a legal advisor. as well work for Emirates Airline, traveling the world, and growing my social network on Instagram. I have a lot of followers. So between those three, I'm trying to balance, and I can tell it's going perfectly well. I would just like to come back for first real profession as a lawyer. I would like to encourage all the women to follow their dreams. Maybe at the beginning it might be hard. Maybe some people won't support your decision. However, if you believe in yourself and you can do anything, you can achieve anything. And as well, why I wanted to make this balance between my professions, two professions now. My lawyer experience for such a long time was a bit hard on me because I had a different cases, different life stories, which were not easy. And then I will bring it sometimes with myself in my private life. And then I wanted to do something which is going to give me more space for myself to educate myself more, maybe to travel the world and still to stick to my first profession. That's a lawyer profession. So this is how I'm balancing for the last 10 years, and it's going amazing.
That's great. Jelena, how you balance the life? For example, you were a lawyer, you're still a lawyer, but you transform yourself into for Emirates Airline, there is a absolutely different structure, different job requirement. So when you were thinking about this transformation, what were your thoughts and how you successfully balance it?
Well, my thoughts were, first of all, I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to see how other people live, and through my profession, to see how the human rights functioning in a different parts of the world, which did me a lot. Then I had the opportunity to travel the whole world. Before I travel somewhere, I will try to see how the human rights function in the other countries. So maybe that to give me experience, more experience, like life experience, so I can use it back home, where I'm as well doing my legal advices with my colleagues back home. So how the other system functioning, how they protect children's human rights, how they protect women's human rights, how they are dealing with divorces, with violation, domestic violence, like not just the physical violence, as well bullying, and how the women are coping with this in other countries, and how it can be implemented in my country or maybe in our legal system. So this is how I'm basically balancing very good. Sometimes the time zones are different. However, I'm really managing well. And how I grew my social media, especially Instagram, is that people probably follow me because of my travels. That was interesting for them, not as much as to be a lawyer. But however, that's how I grow my network. So many people wanted me to sponsor them, to talk about them, so they can grow their network as well. So which is going very well. So I'm kind of balancing between those three. And this job, what I'm doing now, gives me a lot of free time, like days off, where I can do like my legal stuff and grow my social network even more and help the people to promote them and to hear the voice.
That's amazing. So as a Berkeley, me and MS Women, Voice of a Women, we always try to raise this for developing countries where we saw that there is a child abuse, child labor, then the woman has no access to education and health care, and physically is not protected, no justice, divorce take 2-3 years, and life becomes really difficult. So would you like to say some words for these countries, what they need to do and why they should take it seriously to resolve these matters?
Yes, certainly. I would just like to give a message that women shouldn't wait until the last resort to ask for the lawyer or ask for the help from the government, because this is like the last resort. I understand that, but by that time the children will suffer, and all this domestic violence, I'm talking about physical and psychological violence, it can affect actually in that term. So I would just like to give a message to all women in the world. There is always a solution. There is always a hope. If it's not by the lawyer, then maybe like some other institution in the countries. So all different countries, they have a different system. Yes, I understand that, but just because the women in the less developed countries, they don't have maybe access to education or to good health care, it shouldn't be like just for them to stay at home. They should find a way, especially now with internet, to seek the help before it's too late. Because once it's too late, the damage will be more.
It will be too much. And I'm sure that they can approach you also on Instagram and for any guidance, because of course you are a lawyer and you understand these things better. So let's move back to Christine. You have an amazing life, and what is your advice for the upcoming women that if they want to transform their career from for employee to employer, what do and don'ts they should keep in their brains? This is my first question.
Okay.
And then I have another question, but after this one.
Sure. It's quite a tough question because I don't think there is like one answer for everyone. It also really depends on like your character. Like what can be a big step for one person is maybe a very small step for another. What I would like to advise these women to do, look for support, either a coach or like a person maybe close to you where you can really talk about these kind of things and who inspires you. And it is actually either dramatically stepping outside your comfort zone, which is maybe not easy for everyone. Otherwise, like a step-by-step approach. And I also want to tell these women, like if Route A is not working, there's always a Route B or another way to get there, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the quickest way. And also, maybe in addition to that, Musa, women that have a background, an entrepreneurial background, yes, they often have an advantage if their parents were like that or were expats. They're used to certain things, but again, even people who don't have that background can get there just with the right mindset and an open mindset.
That's amazing. And the second thing is that you got an opportunity to live in Dubai. So you come across with a multinational crowd, and most of the crowd is from the developing countries where husbands are not supportive. Women is really depressed and suppressed. They can't do whatever they want. So in that scenario, what is your advice about the mental health? How they should handle their stresses, and same time they can keep delivering to their family?
Again, a very good question and a quite deep question as well. Because there is such a cultural mix here, I do see that there are, again, I like to talk about the support systems because I do think there is a lot of support out there, but not everybody knows. And there are a lot of female networks here where you can see a variety of backgrounds. So also culture-wise. For me, it's sometimes, of course, hard to say, like, I don't have certain background in a certain culture. Yes, I have a lot of friends and contacts from different countries and cultures, but sometimes you still have that handicap to completely connect. What you do see is that you can connect with cultures also via other means, like for instance, again, poetry or other cultural expressions to get closer to people. I just want to give you one example there, but for instance, I had a poetry night some weeks ago, or already like probably 6 weeks ago, and I managed to get very close connections with some Arab ladies just because I was sharing my emotions, which is not very natural to call it Western European women. We're more like, I don't know, more closed. Yes, more closed, yes. So, but again, I would say in summary, yeah, please look for a support system, maybe in your own culture or group, but also definitely outside there. There is a lot.
That's amazing. So what are your closing thoughts of the day?
What my closing thoughts are indeed like also very short. Always believe in yourself, and nothing is weird. So please go out and try things. We all have certain risks to take. Yeah, that is, I think, the main thing that I want to tell people.
That's amazing. I think you have summarized your life story into a very simple and deep sentence. With this, I want to thank you for joining us, and I'm looking forward to have you in my new programs.
Thank you so much, Musa. Thank you.
Let's move forward to Angelina and take her closing remarks also for the day.
Yes, I would like to thank you for putting me as a part of this big conference. And I'm honored to be with all these beautiful, intelligent, and amazing women. And I would just like to say the message to all women. You can be whatever you want. You just need to believe in yourself. Thank you.
Amazing. With this lovely message for the audience, I want to thank you for joining us, and I'm looking forward to see you in our other programs. Till then, you take care of yourself. With this, we will move to our next speaker. Oh, here I can see Carla. Carla, thank you very much for joining us live from Europe.
Thank you for inviting me.
That's great. So we are very excited to have a communication with you. So I would like to request you to please formally introduce yourself, and then you can continue with your thoughts of the day.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to start by thanking my fellow speakers, because I thought when I read the program, I'm going to be next to that. And I thought, okay, attendees, I'm going to be a little tired after, but it's quite the contrary. I have been watching the conference, and all these speeches have been really invigorating, and I'm full of this energy from these amazing women, really. Hi, my name is Carla Queiroz, as you said, and I founded Radices Consulting 5 years ago, which is a consultancy specialized in sustainability. And today I'm going to talk a few bits about what sustainability is, and probably more helpful what it isn't, and also about my path as an entrepreneur and as a mentor to other entrepreneurs. So let me start to what sustainability is. And according to the dictionary, is avoidance of the depletion of the natural resources in order to maintain ecological balance. And what that is, well, it's an explanation, but what does it mean for business and for global businesses? And well, it means getting profits, obtaining profits without having a negative impact in the planet. And why does my definition starts by the profits, unlike those dictionary definitions? Because it's about business. And I think the reason for our current situation, and while all the talks on the late 90s and early 2000s about the planet failed, is because they presented sustainability as a sacrifice. This is a sacrifice business must make from the planet, and that doesn't resonate with the business community, especially with women in business who have it more difficult than anyone. They may want to be sustainable, but not at any price. And that's why our approach is gaining profit while being sustainable. And it's entirely possible, and sometimes even more profitable than before. And reconcile the economy and the planet is what we do and how we do it. But I'm going to talk a bit about what sustainability isn't. And it isn't a separate journey. It isn't an annex you add to your yearly report for stakeholders to read. It has to be intrinsic. It's not sustainable actions to take, is to be sustainable across your company. And that, I know, for entrepreneurs sounds very difficult, and sometimes for global companies too, but this is actually quite simple. And unless you take an intrinsic approach towards sustainability, it won't work and it won't be effective. And another thing that sustainability isn't is a tag. We see it all across like a label, sustainable, and then it's not really sustainable, and that's greenwashing, and that's not very effective. So let me talk a bit about my journey and how I got there, and my message to women out there who wish to start up or who are starting up or who have a company and don't feel it's working as they should is be flexible, be able to adapt, have an idea, of course, but what needs to be core to your companies are the values, not the ideas. And I myself started in Brussels and in the policy circles of the European Union, which was very interesting, and there is a lot of work to be done there in sustainability. And then somewhere across the journey, I got a call from a bank asking me whether I would help with a sustainability index. And as a consequence of that, there were many private clients, single family offices, global companies. And of course, it was completely different what I am doing today and what the company is doing today, what we were doing 3 years ago, or what we were doing when we began. It's completely different, but that's what you need to learn. You need to be able to adapt. All business people, but particularly women. Why? Because it's going to be more difficult to get hired. It's going to be more difficult to convince clients to stay with you. And the way of helping that circumstances, which is unavoidable, is to be more flexible, to be more adaptable, to be more ready. And in my journey as an entrepreneur, I faced many obstacles, which is why a few years on, I accepted a request by an organization to become a mentor. And I have since become a mentor through various organizations and even people who reach out directly to me on LinkedIn, like, Carla, will you have 10 minutes to give me your thoughts about this topic? I'm really open to that. And I would like to call all business women out there to do the same, to lift each other up. And that's very important. And that's very core to what I'm doing. And of course, mentorship is crucial. Having a network, it has been said throughout the day many times, it's very important as well. But to those of you who are hesitating, whether I should start up or not, or whether is it the right time, do it. Don't hesitate. You will find your network. You will find the support you need. You will have to work hard. That's, of course, a reality. But do not let the cons outweigh the pros, and entrepreneurship is a necessity. Earlier this week in Davos, Henrietta Fore from UNICEF was saying it, that entrepreneurship is a necessity, and the younger generations are going to need to start up, not because they want and not because they have this spirit, but because they will have to find their own way and create their own job when they cannot find one. Okay, and I said, in addition to what Mrs. Fore said earlier this week, let's help them. Those of us who have already started up, who have gone through that path, let's give them a hand and lift them so they can continue this entrepreneurship ecosystem. Thank you very much.
That's amazing. I think you summarized the success patterns into a very nice, comprehensive discussion. With your discussion, I had a couple of thoughts. So I just want to ask you that if someone today want to transform the career from a working professional to a self-employed, is it that what do and do nots they should keep in their head?
Well, the first thing would be don't hesitate. I'm always approached by these young entrepreneurs. They are usually like finishing their masters or else, and they get these really big offers from corporate, and I have been there. And they say, okay, maybe I will go to name your big company for a few years, and then it would be better. And I would say, if you want to do it, you are an entrepreneur at heart. So put your mind where your heart is. And delaying it won't help, and the sooner the better. If you have your mindset to it, that would be my first do. And my second do would be look for support. There are many organizations and many individuals who are very willing to help each other out. And don't try to do it alone. It's true that you can do it, and I did it, and you can be very successful, but you don't need to go through that alone. And that would be my biggest want.
That's amazing. And how important is that your product should be very innovative and you should bring some value, and as you said, sustainability. So how important these characteristics to bring in a business?
Yeah, it's crucial. For me, when I started, it was designing strategies. And of course, sustainability was core to those strategies because that's who my generation are. We don't think of sustainability as a separate. It's like everything we do has to be sustainable. But then I realized it's not the same for other generations because they didn't grow up with this concept. So I had to rebrand myself and as a sustainability strategy consultant, because what I thought was simply a strategy with sustainability incorporated, it was actually bringing companies sustainable. And I have had the opportunity to work on some very great projects from a very large group of companies that they did not interact with each other. And I brought them to interact with each other, to smaller companies or single family offices going through generational change, which is very important. And the important thing is you have your ideas, but do not try to impose those ideas. See the market, feel the market, and react to the market. And of course, make it in a way everyone understands, not just your generation, because odds are, if you're young, business leaders are not your age in the majority. But make them understand. And once you do that, you will have half of the way done.
That's amazing. And how you see the post-COVID 2021 business world in Europe?
I see it as an opportunity, really. I believe there are many companies failing, and that's sad. But I don't think they are failing because of COVID. I think COVID was a catalyst for previous tendencies. And companies that were downward before, they got this massive shock and they completely failed, but because they had been failing for years. Companies that are strong, that resilient, that are able to adapt are probably now stronger because they were able to adapt. And once we adapt, we find flexibility within ourselves, as we did with COVID. We adapt to a completely different way of doing business. We think, okay, if we were capable of doing this in such a short term, we are capable of doing it for the future and to keep adapting to the market. So I think it's a great opportunity for all businesses in Europe and elsewhere.
That's amazing. I think it's very positive vibes and messages from your side.
Yeah, I believe I was listening a bit of Davos during this week when I had the time, and there were these entrepreneurs, and they kept saying, like 3 or 4 of them, we started in 2008, we started off the midst of a crisis, and because of that, their companies were stronger, and this is no different. Starting up or reinventing yourself in the middle of a crisis, of course, is terribly difficult, but the results are magnificent. Because if you are crisis-proof from one crisis, you will be able to adapt to the next. And if there is one thing we know, is there is going to be a next one. And we don't have to be afraid of that, simply prepare.
That's amazing. I think these are beautiful thoughts, and the global audience has gained a lot. Time does not permit, but of course I have a lot of thoughts to share with you, and maybe we can plan another event or another talk show with you to have more insights in the future. I want to thank you for joining us and looking forward to see you in future.
It's been my pleasure, and of course, I will be able to. I have always the time to talk.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you very much. And with this, we will move forward to our next speaker. Good afternoon, Khalood. Thank you very much for joining us today. I think your mic is mute. Can you unmute your mic, please?
Yes, thank you. I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you very much for joining us. And I just want you to please introduce yourself with our global audience. I know you're already popular and everyone knows you, but still as a formality.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Khouloud Chaban. I'm the CEO of Berkeley Middle East. I started my career in finance and strategic business planning, where I worked for years before moving towards strategic decision making and driving profitability and direction of the organization. Beside providing executive leadership coaching and mentoring. In my career path, I made growing my knowledge and skills a daily task. I embraced every opportunity to learn something new and started to develop a deep sense of passion and thrive for motivating and educating myself to reach greater heights in both my career and income. I came very close to failure many times, where I had to overcome my fears to step up to face lots of challenges, both on personal and career-wise, that life was throwing at me. I took breaks multiple times to charge up, but I never gave up on my dreams and aspirations, as I always were committed to make a change. This is practically how I can introduce myself.
This is a very lovely introduction, and I think here I need something to add for the audience from my side. Very less people knows that Khaloud was one of my students, and I feel lucky that I trained her for business management, how to do business, how to grow it, internal control, auditing, and budgeting, forecasting, and strategic management with financial management. This was really an interesting time back in 2011. And I still remember that I told you that you are not born to do a job. You are a businesswoman, and I remember that you took 6 months that time to listen to me, and you resigned from your job. You joined as a partner, and I can ensure as a group CEO Berkeley me that you brought a great value to our group of companies, and this is a very, very life and a life story of a successful woman. I mean, all the audiences listening to me, Khaloud is a true reflection of a transformation into a businesswoman, and there's a lot more to learn from her. So, Khaloud, with your successful business experience, I mean, you are not a thought, you are not a theoretical knowledge, you are a practical demonstrated running a successful business over a decade. So how you think that what we should do, what a woman should do to get a successful business at the end?
First of all, I would like to share one thought that I realized that part of my success is to be part of others' success, nurture, support, and motivate others. And this is when I decided to be part of Berkeley's foundation in its aim to support women in different parts of the world, especially in developing countries, by helping them to get free health and education, build their skills, support them to start their own businesses, heading towards their destiny and financial security. And this is what I would like to shed some light on today.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so there's now, how can a woman build herself up towards starting a successful business? There's no magic pill that effortlessly launches you from your spot into the free world of entrepreneurship. For some, the dream to be your own boss grows for a long time, even lasts for years before it finally becomes a reality. It's a mix of multiple factors, from having a vision, a goal, a mindset, to having the required knowledge, mentoring, and commitment. Here are a few thoughts and ideas that I would like to share, some of which has been highlighted by our lovely speakers today. So firstly, it's important for you to have female business role models. Female role models are incredibly important. They empower women in business, provide inspiration, and reset negative mindsets. Whether you're just starting out or are further along on your startup's journey, knowing there are other people who can say they've been there, done that, and understand what motivates you can be inspiring. Access to mentorship gives you the confidence and clarity you need to pave your way towards success. Secondly, there is networking, which I have been talking also about today. Women tend to be strong in people skills, building cooperations, networking, and relationships. The investments women make in relationships and community today will surely pay off later. There are many events nowadays created specifically for women in business, one of them this event, which are valuable and can provide them with support and networking opportunities. For those women starting out, attending an event fine-tunes those networking skills. And you never know who you may meet, possibly someone that could open up a new opportunity for you. Furthermore, you need to keep growing your knowledge and improve your business soft skills. Growing your knowledge and skills is an ongoing process that you need to undertake if you want to keep up with the business world. Negotiation, pitching, and selling may not be the reasons why you found a startup, but they are necessary skills and can be learned. Moreover, you need to work on getting visibility for both you and your business. Social media is a powerful way to help you do just that if you learn how to utilize it. So additionally, I would like to say, make sure that you have a well-balanced and diverse team on board with you. Diverse teams perform better because they combine a wider set of skills and experiences, with each utilizing their strengths. So have the right people around you and have an excellent financial person beside you to better plan your business finances. You can even think about getting a partner. Having someone to bounce ideas off, to push back when something doesn't make sense is really helpful. You can play off each other's strengths. Understand your business model well. You need to know what you're selling to pitch your investors. Your job as an entrepreneur is to tell them how they will make money, Have a thoughtful strategy around why you are raising capital and what your investors will get out of an investment. Get everything together. Write a financial projection and a business plan to figure out how to pitch your business. Then look for funders who support women-owned businesses and seek out women-friendly initiatives and supporters. They can form a true helping hand. And the last thought I would like to share, and I will close my speech in, I would like to emphasize on the huge importance of leadership. Developing your leadership traits, and despite leadership can be subjective, it's a key to develop your leadership traits is a key. And despite leadership can be subjective, but from my perspective, leadership is about perseverance and creativity, because you don't know what will be thrown at you the next day. I admire women leaders who are taking risks, who are very assertive about their vision and somewhat unapologetic about pursuing that vision and have a way of getting others on board with them. Leadership is the ability also to inspire, keep people focused and motivated. You need an ability to communicate in an effective way so that people feel empowered. You must mentor others and be visible to encourage and support others. Share your story, nurture and develop others to become leaders. That's what leaders do. So these are a few thoughts that I loved being today to share with you all. I hope it gave you some insights and sort of perspective on where to start. Thank you for listening, and I wish you a successful life ahead.
Thank you very much, Khulud, for your lovely points. I think if someone wants to really do a successful business, these points are really important. And I also want to appreciate your effort to create this Berkeley Me Women Empowerment Center, where I visited. I saw that with the Berkeley Me consultant collaboration, I mean, you give women a free access to budgeting, company formation, software, VAT calculations. I mean, this is an amazing job. I can see that even governments can't do that, which you have done it very successfully. And with this platform, I can tell that any women who want to start a business or have already started or struggling with getting good contacts, public relationship, or some technical budgeting and VAT and tax filings, Khulud is here as always to support you. And I think that is a great valuable contribution. And thank you very much for joining us. And
Thank you.
Looking forward to have you. Looking forward to have you in our next shows.
Yes, sure. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Well, this we are almost at the end of our discussion. It was a lovely event and very beautiful thoughts of the people. I can really see that world is full of talented women. They are self-employed. They are working for employers. They have dreams. They have thoughts. They want to change and make the difference in the world. And that's what is the beauty of a woman. And my focus is always the developing countries, where I can see there is some mistreatment with the women. Women has no free education, free health. They are still put it like a showcase in the homes. They don't have rights in order to get justice. If there is a rights in the books, but there's nothing on practical. They are not physically protected. They are not physically able to move out freely. They have no access to the facilities. Their quality of life is really down, and that's where I feel my focus and all of us focus should come on, We should negotiate with the governments, parliaments, legislation to bring women in shoulder to shoulder. They should get access to free education, free health, and that's what we are focusing on in Berkeley, me and Musa Sheikh Global Women Foundation. And your support is always very much appreciated with this. I want to thank all of our stakeholders, Berkeley, me, School of Business and Management, Berkeley Me Consulting, the Global Women Foundation, our sponsors and our colleagues and all the speakers and the team for working and making it possible. With this, I want to close the day today, and I want to bless you with happiness ahead. Stay safe and stay happy, and may God bless you with all what you think and what you are striving for. Goodbye.